Well, there's a hotel across the street and somebody over there. What does that say?
I'm Keith Hernandez.
Well, yesterday they loved Billy Webb. Today, a little love for you.
Well, I'm Keith Hernandez. That was my line, you know.
Good to see that they've moved up in the world.
Webby being the voyeur again.
Well, it's a sunny day. Got to make sure you protect yourself.
Well,
Jose's making sure no bugs get anywhere near him.
oh man, all those chemicals. Ugh. Your pores opening up and sweating. Yuck.
Rookie right-hander Scott Matheson on the mound for the Phillies this afternoon, facing the Mets for the second time. And here's the Mets lineup he'll face, brought to you by ChevyOffers.com. Lastings Millage gets back into the lineup. Mike DeFelice in there, day game after a night game. But otherwise, it's the usual crowd, all the regulars not getting a day off.
And you look at the rookie Scott Matheson, and you see it's been a rough road for him thus far. And he is going to be making his 7th appearance.
Jose Reyes leads off, and he takes a strike. The Mets beat up on Matheson a week ago Sunday night at Shea, and Reyes capped a 7-run inning with a grand slam off Matheson.
Well, this will be a good tester for the Mets here. You know, it's a tough one. You've lost the first 3 here. You've been beaten up in the first 2, shut out in the 3rd. A tough loss. A win today, as we said at the open, in the open, Gary, it puts the Phillies back to 13. Takes a lot of wind out of their sails. So we'll see how the Mets respond.
Andy Chavez next, and then Carlos Beltran as the Mets bunch speed at the top of the batting order. Scott Matheson, just 22 years old. He's a Canadian from British Columbia, drafted out of high school by the Phillies, and he was one of those kids they projected. In other words, he threw 84 miles an hour in high school, and now here he is 4 years later, and he throws 95, 96.
Well, you can see he's an upstairs fastball pitcher. He had a 12-6 curve. He got rid of that and started throwing a slider a couple years ago.
Slapped toward the hole. Rollins on the backhand has to make a quick throw, and Howard can't handle it. And Reyes is safe at first, and Sandy Alomar tells him get back in case you took a turn. The throw gets away, but backed up. And Reyes will hold it first with what is scored an infield hit.
Well, the backhand, he knows he has to rush Rollins. And I think Jose beat that anyway, to be honest with you. It should be a base hit. Well, he can fly. Let's see. Got to get a hit on that one, don't you?
And then did he make a turn? It didn't look to me like he did, but Sandy Alomar was telling him to rush back to the bag just in case so he wouldn't get tagged out.
And the Ford Philly defense, as you can see here tonight, Mike Lieberthal ties an all-time record for games caught. That goes back to the early 1900s. And congratulations to him. That's quite a feat.
Here's Chavez, and Andy takes a strike. Andy playing left field today. You see the batting average up to 301 over his last 17 starts. He's hitting 403 in those games as he continues to make a bid for more playing time.
Well, he's kind of hasn't been playing of late since Floyd went down, and they've been playing more, going more with Millage, and Millage is in right today again, and playing Michael Tucker a little bit here. Yeah. So he's kind of been sat down on the bench a little bit here. I know it strengthens your bench to have him on there, but boy, he's been such an important part of this offense.
Well, I think part of the deal right now is that Willie knows what he's going to get from Chavez. He doesn't really know yet with Millage, trying to find out whether he can be part of the puzzle in October. And he doesn't know what he has in Michael Tucker, and he's been playing those guys to try and get a better read. But of that group, Chavez has certainly given the Mets far more than Millage or Tucker, and certainly more than Ricky Leday, who's played little and not been productive. 1-1 to Chavez. Cliff Floyd is still a good distance away from returning. He has not done any baseball activity down in Florida as he tries to come back from the sore Achilles. So the Mets are trying to sort out that outfield situation. Reyes has not been running, and Chavez grounds one to Utley, gets the force on Reyes, no relay. So there's the first out of the game. 1 out and 1 on for Beltran.
Carlos, of course, you see his numbers there. He's been kind of stuck on 98 RBIs. You know he's going to get 100 sooner or later. There's so much season left. A little over 40 games left in the season.
Keith, did you find it puzzling that with the Mets struggling for offense the way they are, 3 pitches, Reyes never tried to steal a base?
It's not puzzling to me. What's puzzling is that Reyes never steals on a first pitch. We've talked about it all year, Gary. He kind of seems to want to get a measure of a pitcher at first. But, you know, you would think if he gets on base 2-3 times a game, you should get your measure the first time you're on base. He's one of those guys that doesn't like to steal on the first pitch.
And Matheson throwing strikes early in this game gets ahead on Beltran 0-2. Reyes' next steal will be his 50th of the year. He stole 60 last year to lead the National League. Beltran got a hit his first time up in this series on Monday night, and he hasn't had a hit since. Carlos Delgado waiting on deck. There's been a real brownout in the middle of the Mets lineup. Shutout twice in the last 3 games. Chavez almost took a false start at first, and Matheson misses with a changeup.
Got a little stutter step there. I think he was on his horse there, or just was trying to distract Matheson. If that was the case, he did.
2-2 to Beltran, and Matheson checks in on Chavez, who has stolen 10 bases this year. Mets lead the National League in steals, tied for the Major League lead.
Well, I love this scouting report we have on Matheson.
And the fastball misses, and after getting ahead 0-2, he's gone to a full count.
I love the way they say Matheson would benefit from better command. He throws strikes. He just needs to throw better strikes. Well, what does that mean? That means he's throwing too many fat pitches.
Well, he's throwing 95, 96 miles an hour. That's a good thing.
He's a young kid.
Chavez runs. Beltran lines a base hit. Chavez trying to go first to third, and DeLucci will let him go. And the Mets have runners at the corners with 1 out. Well, the Mets have had very few opportunities in this series, and they've got one now.
Well, this is what we're talking about. Look at Carlos get on top of this high fastball. Look at that top hand come over. That's a ball he probably could have hit the other way, and he just decides to pull it. And this is a bullet to right field, and Chavez did not hesitate. Watch this. This is what the Mets need to do. When you lost your 3 games here and you put the pressure on, play aggressive. Nice base running.
So the Mets looking to get off to a fast start, something they had been doing with regularity, but not lately. And Chavez walking down the line. The third baseman's about 50 feet away. And how do you play the defense like this when you got a fast guy like Chavez at third?
Well, your pitcher's got to go on a stretch. That's all there is to it. And you hope it's a young pitcher. You're putting a lot of pressure on him. They're starting to switch over now a little bit.
Nunez walking further and further over toward third, but he was way far away, and Chavez immediately looked to take advantage of it.
If you've got a veteran pitcher out there, say a Tom Glavine, a Greg Maddux, then you can. It's not going to bother him. But you've got a young 22-year-old kid out there that's been struggling in his first 7 appearances. You don't want to put that kind of pressure on him.
But no matter who's on the mound, if the third baseman is playing that far away, what's to stop Chavez from doing exactly what he did?
Well, you can break from the belt. He did the right thing to step off right there. And he did the absolute right thing to force him back. Don't forget, the right-hander can see out of the corner of his eye.
And Delgado falls behind 1-2.
Carlos has just been just an absolute struggle for him. And he missed the fastball the first pitch. It's a pitch when he's swinging good, he hits, he's out of the box. He swings and misses, and now allows the pitcher to make another a tough pitch on him.
So Matheson had 1-2, and he misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Remember, he was ahead on Beltran 0-2, got to 3-2 before Beltran got the base hit. Delgado had a hit last night, 1 for his last 24 as David Wright waits to hit next. But it has been a huge struggle for Carlos Delgado. Reaches and fouls it away. Mets have had very, very few opportunities in this series. It's a rarity for them to have 2 men on base in the same inning.
It's been incredible how they've been shut down by this Philly pitching staff.
Well, the only 4 runs they've scored came on the 3 Jose Reyes home runs on Tuesday night. Shutout Monday night, shutout last night. On 2-2, Delgado watches the changeup high, and it's 3-2. So just as he did with Beltran, Matheson got ahead, but now it's a full count.
That's the one thing he did not want to do here, was get to 3-2. Beltran will be on his horse here. Eliminates the double play unless it's an absolute bullet hit at somebody.
Unless it's a strike him out, throw him out. Delgado just trying to get that run in from third. And he loops it to center field. That'll get the run in. Victorino over. Chavez tags. He trots in to score. Sacrifice fly for Delgado. And the Mets take an early 1-0 lead. It's not much, but right now it feels like 100 runs.
Well, you're talking about the one-sided games, first 3 games, the one-sidedness of them. And you can see right there, it's stark. That's our word in this series.
Well, just the fact that the Mets had only 4 at-bats with runners in scoring position in the first 3 games, it gives you an idea just how little's been going on. David Wright trying to get himself going, has hiked the pants up. See if that works for him. David just 3 for his last 20. 1 for 9 in this series, and made a couple of errors in the field last night. Takes the slider outside.
Well, this is the kind of pitcher right here that probably should be in AAA, honing his skills. They're giving him an opportunity here. You see David Sox right there. Who says baseball players aren't superstitious?
Anything to get you going. And Matheson falls behind him 2-0.
Just already thrown a lot of pitches this inning. It's a kind of pitcher, if you go up there as a hitter, your approach will be, okay, if I get 5-6 pitches from this guy, I'm going to get 3, maybe 4 good to hit.
This will be the 25th pitch of the inning for Matheson, and Wright, and on the hands, pulled it foul. Scott Matheson only 22, and you know, he was a kid growing up who concentrated on hockey growing up in British Columbia. Didn't concentrate on baseball till he was 15, so kid who the Phillies figure is going to develop and become a frontline pitcher, but he's not there yet. 2-2 to Wright.
So he's got a good fastball, as you see there, and he throws upstairs much like John Maine. And a hitter's approach here is you want to make him get it down. If that's a pitch is effective upstairs, you want to make him get the fastball down. That's easier said than done, but that's your approach. That should be your approach.
John Maine staked to a lead already before he takes the mound. And Wright watches inside. So for the 3rd straight batter, Matheson's gone to 3-2. And so it'll be an automatic start for Beltran at first. Mets have already plated a run here in the first and looking for more. 3-2 to Wright. Ripped down the left field line, foul.
And there's a hanging slider right in David's wheelhouse, and he's out in front, which goes to show that David's not right now. Right with an R. That is right down the pipe.
Also with an R.
Yes.
He needs to be right with a W. Beltran gets set to run, and Wright takes a called 3rd strike. Fastball on the outside corner. First strikeout for Matheson puts a close to the inning, but Carlos Delgado's sacrifice fly has given John Maine a run to work with. John Maine has already beaten the Phillies once this year. Matched up against Scott Matheson 11 days ago. Here's the Rico Phillies lineup he'll face. Pat Burrell getting the start for the second straight day after sitting the first 2 games of the series. David DeLucci in the lineup in left field. Mike Lieberthal tying a Phillies club record for games caught with his appearance today.
And there's John Maine, 2-3. As you see right there, his strikeout ratio to his walks are outstanding.
Jimmy Rollins leads off. Rollins had a 6-game hitting streak in which he was hitting over 500 come to an end last night. But he was having himself a good year. 18 home runs, a new record for Philly shortstops. So you got 2 shortstops in this game, both of whom have set their club record for home runs by a shortstop in a season.
2 pretty good players, to say the least.
And similar in a lot of respects, but you know, Rollins is a guy who it looked like a couple of years ago was turning the corner at being a better leadoff hitter. And until very recently, his on-base percentage has still been low.
Well, he's a switch hitter. He's improved his hitting from the right side of the plate this year. He's hitting better from the right side against lefties than he is against right-handed. Hitting 294 against left-handers this year. That's always been a weakness. Yeah. So he's making improvements.
Maine missing high with that curveball.
And we're talking about Maine's strikeout and walk ratio. And John, prior to this, only had 43 2/3 innings pitched in the major leagues.
As Rollins fouls it away.
And he had more walks than strikeouts, 27 to 25, 27 walks, of course. But this year, as you saw, he's only got 14 walks and 37 strikeouts in 44 1/3. So he's on the rise too, and that's why he's been successful.
Made 8 starts for the Orioles last year. This is his 8th start as a Met. And you know, part of that is maturity, but also, you know, you pitch for the Orioles in that division, in that league, with those stocked lineups, as Rollins grounds one to Valenti and one away. It's a little different than pitching in the National League this year, and I think that has to have helped Maine with his confidence.
Well, I agree. You got a pitcher hitting, and a lot of the times the 8th hitter is not a quality hitter, and sometimes a 7th hitter. I mean, let's face it, the American League is a better league. You got the DH over there for various reasons. But there's also some pitchers over in that American League that are having some great years.
Shane Victorino takes a strike. Victorino getting the start in center field today with Aaron Rowan getting a day off. Victorino's already hit 2 home runs in this series. The Phillies, very much like the Mets, are trying to figure out their corner outfield situation. And Victorino plays into that mix for Charlie Manuel. Slapped to short. And Reyes in against Victorino's speed. He throws him out 2 away.
Well, the Mets defense today on this beautiful afternoon here in Philadelphia, brought to you by Geico. Chavez in left. Millage gets to start today in right. DeFelice behind the plate. LaDuca, of course, always gets the day off, usually on the day game. And the rest of that infield rounds out pretty much the same.
Well, here's Chase Utley. 8th in the National League in batting, leading the league in base hits. Had a 35-game hitting streak, stopped at Shea Stadium 2 weekends ago. And as the Phillies revamp, this is one of the players who will be part of their core for years to come.
Well, I was kind of waiting for them to move him into the 3rd position in the order. He started his career in the 2nd spot in that order. Of course, Bobby Abreu was their 3rd hitter here, and of course he was traded to the Yankees earlier this year. And he is really quintessential 3rd hitter. I like his stroke. He's another guy that's come a long way, Gary. He's improved with his hitting against left-hand pitching. Hitting .329 against left-handers this year.
1-2 from Maine, misses away. Well, you got to love those left-hand hitters who use the whole field to get hit lefties in that 3 spot, right?
Right. Well, if you're a left-hander that hits left-handers, it means one thing: you're staying in. You're staying in. You're not bailing.
2-2 to Utley, and Maine misses a full count. Ryan Howard waiting on deck. Mets have done a pretty good job holding Howard in check in this series. He's had a few hits, but no extra base hits for the National League home run leader. And Utley strikes out on the fastball away. Good job by Maine. A 1-2-3 inning with 2 ground balls and a strikeout. After 1, Mets with a 1-0 lead. Second inning, Jose Valentin leads off against Scott Matheson and takes a strike. Valentin, like everybody else in that lineup, has been struggling. 2 for his last 17. And he hits one through the hole and into right field. So for the second straight inning, the Mets have a leadoff hit. You know, Keith, before the game today, Willie Randolph spent quite a bit of time talking about complacency and how he does not feel that there is any sign of complacency with this team right now. And of course, that's the knee-jerk thing for people like us to look at. You know, 15-game lead. It's the dog days of August. And this team is resting on its laurels because they've lost 3 games in a row. And he says that's just not the case. As Millage bunts one in front of the plate and Lieberthal throws him out. Should get credit for a sacrifice on that one away.
Well, I don't think that this team is complacent. I mean, professional athletes, the great majority of them, and strive to be the best they can be. There's a 5% that are lazy, but the great majority want to be the best that they can. And Willie is the kind of manager that's not going to tolerate that anyway. I think he always is. Willie's kind of a perfectionist. If you've noticed that, just the little details. That's what's impressed me about him. It's the dog days. I think guys are a little tired. I always got my second win in August. Once we got into the 20s in August, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And whatever reason, whether it's psychological, and I think it is psychological.
Mike DeFelice takes a strike.
And I was taught how to play the game by my father, who played professional ball. So it was always drummed in me that, you know, you see the light at the end of the tunnel once you get in. For him, it must have been the 20s, so it stuck with me. And it just seems like the weather starts changing a little bit, getting a little cooler, although August still stays hot. September, you get that cooler air, and you just go strong the rest of the way. So it's a little bit of a doldrum here, and I think what's just more startling about it, or surprising, is that this team has played so consistently all year. This has really been, since they caught fire, been the first real tough patch.
1-1 to DeFelice. Let's check in with Chris Connor. Chris?
Hey, guys, just to add to what you were saying about Willie's discussion this morning, you know, he said, and I quote, "We might be better than some teams, but we're no different in terms of the ups and downs. You just got to stay cool and stay controlled." So what he was basically saying is every team goes through these. You know, they've had a 4-game losing streak earlier on this season. It's just a matter of staying cool and getting through it. And in terms of the complacency, so we get a base hit to right field, and they're going to wave Valentin home. And he's going to make it without a throw as Howard cuts it off, and it's 2-0 Mets. So as I'll continue, the one thing he talked about was he looks at little things, being on time, the work habits, the hustle of this team, as you saw Valentin hustling in to score. And he says as long as those things are there, he's not concerned about the team getting complacent and not performing well, as long as you do those little things right.
Well, DeFelice here, his first RBI of the season since his call-up. Got a high fastball up. Went the other way with it nicely. So that makes you feel good when you're a late call-up, when you come in, you're 0 for 8 coming into the game, you haven't contributed, and there's your first contribution.
And John Maine gets a bunt down. Howard fields. And so the second sacrifice of the inning, you don't see that very often, moves DeFelice to second base.
And a very fine bunt here. Watch the bat out in front, bat level. Parallel to the ground, right down the line, deadens it beautifully. Nice bundies.
So 2 away, DeFelice now at second, and now Jose Reyes, who had an infield single his first time up. And a good changeup by Matheson. You know, getting back to Willie Randolph's discussion about complacency, what he said was that if he saw signs that that guys were slipping up in their work habits, that he would have to put the hammer down. I mean, he's very conscious of the possibility of that. He just doesn't feel like he sees that right now.
Toward the hole, Reyes sneaks one through into right. DeFelice does not have much speed. Here comes the throw by DeLucci to the plate, and DeFelice beats it home. 3-0 New York. 60th run batted in for Jose Reyes.
Well, here's Jose right here. Gets a high fastball running away. Probably a ball he could have gone the other way with, but he stayed level, kept his hands back. Kind of like to see him run. This is a big run right here, slow runner. And something to keep in his head is that take the big wide turn and run to second base and sacrifice yourself. Force Howard to make a decision here whether to let the ball in or not. This is a big game for the Mets to win. I mean, it's not imperative, but it's a win they want to have.
Well, Reyes 2 for 2 today. Now 6 for 13 in this series. Boy, he has certainly enjoyed playing against the Phillies this year. In fact, you know, he had that 3 home run game the other night. Half of his home runs this year, 7 of his 14, have been hit against the Phillies.
The Mets' Pat Burrell.
There you go. Here's Andy Chavez, a pitch out, but Reyes isn't going anywhere. Chavez hit into a force play his first time up. Burrell with 35 career home runs against the Mets. Just a ridiculous number in 7 years.
Well, this is what we talked about, Gary, the last couple of days, you and I, on the air and in between innings, is that the Mets are the best team in the National League, certainly in the division. This is the second best team in the division, and maybe the second best team in the National League.
Reyes runs. Lieberthal's throw not in time. 50th stolen base of the year for Reyes.
So Reyes, the first Met ever to steal 50 bases 2 years in a row.
Well, we're going to see more first time ever for Met records as far as Jose Reyes is concerned, and that was close. Nice throw by the catch. Mike Lieberthal, great jump by Reyes. Such great explosion. I wish he'd slide feet first, but I don't think he's going to do that.
Chavez fouls it off 1-2. Well, Lieberthal, who's playing a milestone game today, tying the Phillies club record for games played by a catcher, nearly got him.
I just don't think the Phillies have enough pitching to make a run here, or anybody in the Mets division.
Matheson makes the toss to get Chavez, and the inning is over. But the Mets put up 2 more runs. DeFelice and Reyes with RBI hits, and the Mets in a different place offensively today.
Get fantastic, suitable for framing photos of your favorite Mets free in copies of the Sunday New York Times sold in the New York area. Pick up this Sunday's Times, including a great shot of Jose Reyes, at a store or newsstand near you. Reyes off to another good start today. A couple of hits, a stolen base, an RBI. And John Maine now with a 3-0 lead as he takes on the league's leading home run hitter, Ryan Howard. 3 for 11 in this series. All 3 hits have been singles. And Maine throws the fastball by him 1-1. You gotta love that about Maine. You got the league's leading home run hitter at the plate, and he just goes up there challenging.
Well, the fastball is his big pitch in his repertoire. He pitches upstairs. Howard's a low ball hitter as well as Burrell. I think it's a good matchup for him.
Maine shut out the Phillies for 6 innings when he faced them the first time.
You can see right there Ryan Howard. That's pretty impressive right there, hitting a home run in 23 of 29 past series.
And he hits one in the air to left. He hits a lot the other way. Chavez back toward the corner, and he's got it. This is a ballpark that's going to yield a lot of home runs to left field by left-hand hitters, particularly Howard, but Chavez had just enough room.
Well, Howard has 22 home runs to the opposite field, and that's the big reason why. There's a perpetual breeze blowing out to left field here. That's 334, which is reasonable. for down the left field line for distance. But the wind just blows out to left.
I thought in that particular case, as Pat Burrell steps in and fouls one off, that the wind might have hurt him because the wind seemed to push that ball toward the corner rather than away. Wind blowing a little bit differently today.
That'd have been a can of Del Monte corn in Old Busch Stadium in the Astrodome.
Or at Shea Stadium for that matter. 0-2 to Burrell. You like the Del Monte brand?
Oh, yes.
Off the high shelf?
Yes.
And Burrell takes high 1-2. Pat Burrell 1 for 4 in the game last night after sitting the first 2 games of the series. Big story in the Philly paper today as Burrell goes down looking. Burrell had a long conversation with several Philadelphia area reporters and says he wants to stay here in Philadelphia. And he's got the hammer because he has a full no trade clause. If he wants to stay, he's staying.
That's good PR, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't want to get these fans hounding you.
Here's David DeLucci with 2 out. We were talking about how the Phillies have to make decisions about corner outfielders, and they love to trade Burrell if they can. And this is an interesting guy, DeLucci, because David DeLucci's 32 years old. He's only had 2 seasons in his career where he's had 400 or more at bats. One of them was last year in Texas when he hit 29 home runs. He's not going to get close to 400 at bats this year. And he lines one the other way in front of Chavez for an opposite field single, and that's the first base runner against John Maine. But DeLucci's been playing brilliantly since they've opened up a spot for him.
He certainly has, and you can see him taking this changeup away. And he made the good point. Since that Abreu trade, when they started playing him, he's hitting .391. And he just added on to that. And that's with 18 hits and 46 at bats, a double, triple, 5 home runs.
I mean, his on-base percentage for the year is over 400. His slugging percentage is over 600. So when he's had the opportunity, he's done extremely well as Lieberthal steps in. But you don't know with guys like that. You don't know how they're going to perform if you give them 600 at bats because he's never done it. Lieberthal hitting at .250.
And I think that Victorino is basically going to be a platoon player. He doesn't look like he has it on the right side of the plate. Now, you never know, he could improve, but he just looks like a slap hitter from the right side of the plate.
Toward the hole, caught by Reyes, side retired. Reyes having himself a fine day, a step and a dive like a third baseman, and he snags the liner by Lieberthal to get Maine through the bottom of the second. Splendid play by Reyes. Third inning in Philadelphia. Mets have put up 5 hits in the first 2 innings against Scott Matheson. And they'll have the heart of the batting order coming up in the third. Carlos Beltran, who had a hit and run single his first time up. Mets have not been hitting for power much, other than Reyes' 3 home run game the other night. In fact, the Mets have hit 9 home runs in the month of August, tied for the fewest in the major leagues. And Reyes has hit 5 of the 9. Don't expect that. So Beltran, Delgado, Wright, the guys who you expect to hit home runs have not been hitting home runs lately.
The Mets scored 6.28 runs in the month of July. That was second in the National League behind the Braves.
And Beltran goes down swinging. Matheson's second strikeout.
High fastball here. Swung right through it.
Well, you may have heard that this September the WB11 is changing into the new CW11. What does that mean to fans of the WB11 news? Well, the name of the station may be changing, but the CW11 will still be the place to find your favorite news shows in the morning and at night.
And getting back to the runs scored by the Mets, 6.28 in July.
as Delgado launches one deep down the right field line. Gone if it stays fair, but it hooks foul. Well, he had home run distance, just not quite enough accuracy.
Well, down and in, and it is around 5 feet, huh?
Last night, LaDuca hit one about 10 feet foul. Now, Delgado hits one foul. It's a little too quick. He hits one to center field and deep. Victorino back near the wall, and it's out of here. There's an end to your home run drought. How often do you see that? A guy barely misses one foul and then hits the next pitch out of the ballpark. No problems with direction there. Number 27 for Delgado, 4-0 New York. And it has been a long time in coming for Carlos Delgado.
Well, more importantly, if you're the pitcher, how do you feel? What do I throw next? And it's just a fastball right down Broadway, a little bit away. And that's way out.
So Delgado with home run number 27. Here's David Wright. Takes a strike. Well, the Met offense had been dormant the last few days, but not today.
Just a little more depth in their starting pitching than the Phillies have here. The Maine, of course, the 5th starter for the Mets. And Matheson's really been struggling, 1-3 with an ERA almost at 7.
The rest of the Philly rotation is actually kicked into gear a little bit. I mean, Cole Hamels looked great the other night. They've got Randy Wolf back and healthy. John Lieber, we've seen him pitch 2 great games against the Mets the last 2 weeks. 2-2 to Wright. But Matheson's still very much a work in progress.
Well, everybody else is a veteran. There's John Lieber.
What did he pitch at Jim last night?
Boy, that was fun to watch. I've always liked him, even when he was a Pirate when he came up young. He was always been a Bulldog.
And Matheson strikes out Wright, 2 away. So David's been up twice and struck out both times.
Fastball away, belt high, right through it. David's having trouble with that outside pitch right now a little bit late. 98th strikeout of the season.
So 2 away for Valentin. By the way, the Carlos Delgado home run, number 396 of his career. And that ties him for 45th place on the all-time list with Joe Carter, the guy who hit a rather famous home run for Delgado's old team, the Blue Jays. Game winner in the 1993 World Series. Series ender. Valentin deep the other way. Burrell back near the wall reels it in to end the inning. So Valentin making a bid for an opposite field home run, but Delgado found the right spot in the ballpark. He hit it straight away, and he hits his 27th to put the Mets up 4-0. Abraham Nunez leads off the home 3rd inning. John Maine now with a 4-0 lead. Nunez getting to play every day right now. Hey, it's too early for Santa Claus.
Oh, it's never too early for Santa.
No, not here in Philadelphia, where they've been renowned for having booed Santa Claus. Nunez getting a chance to play every day with David Bell gone, and Nunez all of a sudden has started hitting a little bit.
What's going on today?
Not only Santa, but an elf.
Or a Grinch.
2-2 to Nunez.
Well, they've done a lot of suffering here in Philadelphia. Look at this guy.
Now, most of what has passed for baseball fandom in Philadelphia has been waiting around for Eagles season.
And the Eagles in the 60s were horrible. Back in those days when they had Norm Snead at quarterback.
Well, the Phillies have been around for a long, long time, and they've won one World Championship.
Mike Schmidt, they beat the Royals. That was the series. Was it Dickie Knowles? There's the Grover Cleveland Alexander, Jim Bunning, Senator Bunning.
1980. Phillies beat the Royals. Doug McGraw got the final out.
The turning point of the series.
Reyes, low throw, safe. Reyes just took a little too long against Nunez. It's an infield single.
Well, that should not happen, and Jose knows it. And this is a rarity for Jose. They say he patted the glove, the same thing that Wright does, and there's your difference. Watch the tap of the glove, and there's your difference. He comes up throwing, he's got him.
He's got such a strong arm, and he has a lot of faith in that arm, but I think he just misjudged Nunez's speed.
Yes.
He's upset with himself.
Yep.
Matheson to bunt. Gets it down nicely. Maine, a little indecision there, but makes the play. 1-4 on the sacrifice, moving Nunez to second.
But going back to that World Series that the Phillies won, was it Dickie Knowles that knocked down George Brett? And George Brett got up all emotional. I mean, just a chin music dropped him. George Brett didn't get a hit the rest of the series. They had that big playoff game in Houston like the '86 Mets. They almost got beat there too.
That was an amazing series, and you know, we talk all the time about the '86 National League Championship Series, but the 1980 series, back then it was best of 5, and 4 of the 5 games went to extra innings.
And wasn't it Alan Ashby in that series? He tagged up and left too quick. Was it Ashby? On a sacrifice fly in a critical part of the game, and they appealed and he was called out. I'm not sure if it was Alan Ashby, but I do recall that. It was just a terrific playoff, and to me it brought back our playoff there in Houston, brought back memories of that particular playoff.
1-2 to Jimmy Rollins.
Anytime you go into Houston with that pitching staff they have, you know you got your hands full.
Rollins bounced out to Valentin his first time up. Slap to third, and Wright will make the play to first. And that's the second out, and I'm not sure why David Wright ignored Abraham Nunez, who was coming right at him.
He could have tagged him there, couldn't he? Let's see. Makes the play here. He's going to make a wide berth around David. Oh, he could have gotten his momentum's going forward. I think it caught him by surprise.
I thought for a moment that maybe David forgot how many out there were.
And I just think it caught him by surprise. That's not good base running by Nunez, particularly down 4 runs. He's lucky he got away with that.
And he did get away with it. So 2 out and a runner at third for Shane Victorino. And DeFelice throwing behind Nunez. How about that?
Those backup catchers are always feisty.
Well, we haven't seen a lot of flash from Mike DeFelice. We've seen him scoot home from second base on a base hit today. Showed off the wheels, giving Paul LeDuc the day off. DeFelice is going to be here for a while because it doesn't look like Ramon Castro is anywhere close to coming back from his strained oblique muscle. Took batting practice day before yesterday, but did not feel great doing it down in Florida. Victorino strikes out on a high fastball. John Maine has his 3rd strikeout, and the inning is over. So he works around that infield single by Nunez. They're having fun in Philadelphia today, showing off the dance steps. Mets are dancing on the Phillies. Fourth inning, Lastings Millage leads off against Scott Matheson and takes low. Millage sacrificed his first time up. Millage didn't play last night as Michael Tucker got a start. 2-0 to Lastings.
So you see what my philosophy on young Matheson is. He's already fallen behind 2-0. These are the kind of pitchers on a big league level. You just can't fall behind 2-0 on a consistent basis and win.
And he lines it to short. Rollins has it, 1 away. So 1 out and nobody on. Let's check out the Aflac trivia question. Duck in a blue sky. Who was the last team to be swept in a 4-game series after entering the series with a 15+ game division lead?
Who thinks of these things? There's not one person in New York who knows this answer.
Well, they might, because we mentioned it on the pregame show. 1-0 to D. Felice.
And I happen to know because I got it right in front of me here. But
Well,
we're not going to tell, are we?
It's only happened to 2 other teams in Major League history. And the Mets are hoping it doesn't happen to them today. 2-0 to D. Felice.
Shall we give them the year, the 2 years?
Sure. Give them the year.
September 1912.
You can tell them that one because that's not the answer.
Okay, September 1912. Are you sure?
Yeah. It said the last time. That wasn't the last time.
Okay, it was Cleveland was swept. Red Sox were swept by Cleveland in the 4-game set on September 12th with a 16-game lead.
1912. They were good in 1912. The Red Sox. They were a dominant team.
Now the other one is in the National League.
And D. Felice walks on 4 pitches.
In 1944, in September, this team had a 19.5-game lead.
And they got swept twice in 4-game series. How about that?
Yep.
I guess they were complacent. They were getting ready for, well, there were no playoffs then. They were getting ready for the World Series.
They were swept by the same team twice.
They were getting ready for the World Series against their crosstown rivals.
Oh, but that's you can give that hint because that's a good one.
John Maine fouls off the bunt attempt. You like that one?
Yes.
That's good, right?
A lot of people forget that team.
Yeah, there you go. All right. 1944.
That's when a lot of players were in uniform during World War II, and major leagues were during the war year and World War II years were down. So a lot of the great players were in the armed forces.
Maine gets down a nice bunt. Second sacrifice of the day for Maine, moving D. Felice along. Bring a group to Shea. Watch the Mets with family, friends, or community organizations. Choose ballpark seating or hospitality options like the picnic area. To plan your group day at Shea, call 718-507-TIXX. Well, here's Reyes, who's already had himself a nice day at the plate. 2 for 2, a stolen base, an RBI, his 50th steal, his 60th RBI, and he'll try and get D. Felice home from second again. He pulled a base hit into right field and chased D. Felice home in the second. Reyes with his 2 hits today, up to 299 on the year.
He wants to hit 300. Who doesn't?
He's got a chance to put up some rarely seen numbers. I mean, he's got the 50 steals. He's got 14 homers, 23 doubles, and 15 triples. He's got an outside shot of getting to 20 in all those categories: doubles, triples, homers, stolen bases. That's a rarely achieved feat. And 2 to Reyes. I don't know that he's going to do it, but at least he's within range.
High fastball. Up the ladder. Bad pitch up. So many hitters today kind of swing up. Boy, if you got a good high fastball like this kid does in Maine, you can go far.
Hit in the air, foul. That'll make it to the seats. You know, we're going to have to check with Elias on this, but I think the last guy to do 20, 20, 20, 20, doubles, triples, homers, stolen bases, I think it was George Brett.
I wouldn't know.
We'll have to check with that.
Well, I can see Brett having the 20 triples in that big ballpark in Kansas City. And George could run.
Early in his career, he really could run. Reyes fouls it away. Have to get our ace Bob Waterman over at Elias to check on that for us. But you know, that would be just a stupendous feat on Reyes' part. I think Juan Samuel came close to doing that.
What is the record for triples in a season? You got that book here, don't
36.
you? By, do you recall?
Earl Webb, I believe. I check that out. But that sticks in my mind.
Bill Webb?
I think it's his brother Earl.
I can just see Webby stretching out 3.
Oh, yeah.
Especially on a day like this.
Let's stretch a triple into a single. Yeah. The lifetime record. No, Earl Webb has the doubles record. That's right. The triples record belongs to Owen Wilson. Not that Owen Wilson. 1912 with the Pirates. 36 triples. That's a different era, my friend.
Yes.
3-2 to Reyes.
I wonder what Willie Mays had, because Willie Mays wasn't he the last guy to get 20 triples at one point? I know Gary Templeton in 1979. It was like he was going to be the first guy to get 20 triples since Willie Mays. I recall that.
3-2 to Reyes, and he hits one in the air. Foul. Howard coming over, and he'll run out of room. Well, Lance Johnson had 21 triples for the Mets in '96. Earl Webb has the doubles record. 67 doubles for the Red Sox in 1931.
And Medwick has the National League. He's had that for a long time, since 36, 64. That's a National League record for doubles.
And Reyes lays off, and he draws a 10-pitch walk. Second walk of the inning issued by Matheson. 2 men aboard for Chavez. So Reyes on base for the 3rd straight time. Yeah, we know. He's Keith Hernandez. Big Seinfeld fan.
That was my line to Elaine Bennis.
Did you ever? No, never.
Did I ever what?
Here's Andy Chavez, and he takes ball 1. You know, you and Elaine.
Don't be shy.
You and Elaine.
Oh no, she was married. Actually, she was like 3 months pregnant when we taped that. That show that week with her first child, if I recall.
Really?
Yes.
Rich Doobie going to the mound to talk to Matheson. And Fabio Castro up in the Phillies bullpen. Well, while they chat, why don't we bring the duck back? You don't like the duck?
Oh, I've always loved a duck, but the questions I don't like this year.
The answer to the Aflac trivia question: last team to be swept in a 4-game series after entering the series with at least a 15-game lead. Not in the division in this case, but in the league, since they didn't have divisions then.
Twice by the Pirates.
And the Cardinals in September of 1944 were getting set to square off in the World Series against
a crosstown rival. Remember, folks? Bill Veeck.
St. Louis Browns. Their only World Series appearance. The beleaguered Brownies. 2-0 to Andy Chavez. So Matheson really struggling here in the 4th to throw a strike. DeFelice and Reyes aboard. Hey, on a ball in the gap, you think Reyes will pass DeFelice? There's a strike, 2-1.
So there you have a young kid out there, wild as a March hare, and the catcher's having him throw a 2-0 changeup. It's great if you can do it.
He's thrown 80 pitches already, working here in the 4th. And Chavez bounces one toward the middle. Utley runs it down and makes the crossbody throw, and Howard able to pull out the hop to get Chavez. Good play by Utley. Knew he had to rush the throw against Chavez and got the out to end the inning. Good eats at the ballpark. John Maine working with a 4-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the 4th. As we check out the Jeep upcoming schedule. Big series coming up this weekend. Not only the fact that it's the '86 championship reunion, that'll be Saturday night, but the Rockies, a legitimate playoff contender, will be facing the Mets for the first time this year. And then The Cardinals come in for 3 games before the Phillies come in to close out that homestand. That's playing 10 games with the Phillies in the month of August. Took 2 out of 3 at Shea from Philadelphia, but losing the first 3 of this series and trying to rebound today. Utley takes wide 1-1. Well, Dan Barr down in the truck did the research. George Brett had 20 homers, 20 triples, 20 doubles, but not 20 stolen bases. Came up 3 stolen bases shy.
So who was the last one?
Toward the gap in right center. I'll leave you in suspense. Village over to cut it off, but Utley will easily get to second base with a leadoff double.
Well, he's a low ball hitter. Actually hits the ball pretty much all over the place, up or down, but he likes that ball down. He's a fine hitter, boy, Utley.
Okay, so it won't surprise you if I tell you that the last to do the quad 20s was Willie Mays.
Yes, would not surprise me.
1957, his last year at the Polo Grounds.
Greatest player I ever saw play. No one
and
comes close.
Think about the Polo Grounds too. It was, it was so short down the lines, so you could hit home runs, and it was so deep in center field, so you could get triples.
Right.
Howard lifts one to left and deep. Chavez going back, looking up, and it's out of here. Well, the Mets had kept Ryan Howard in the ballpark in this series until that. His 42nd home run of the year to lead the National League. And the Met lead is cut in half. It's now 4-2. .42 home runs, and 23 of them have been hit to left field.
And this is basically a line drive, and I have to say, he's a very strong man, but it's a line drive in a lot of old ballparks.
It's the ballpark.
Yep.
And that takes nothing away from Ryan Howard. He's
Correct.
Obviously a very good hitter and a very strong guy, and he's taking advantage of the conditions, but most ballparks, that's not a home run.
He just naturally goes that way, and that's why he's going to be a good hitter.
Valentine on the backhand play and throws out Burrell. 1 away. Fans here in Philadelphia who know how to exercise their lungs in a negative fashion have begun to boo Pat Burrell. There's David DeLucci. When I think of the Polo Grounds, and I never saw a baseball game there. I did see one Titans football game there, but I was too young to have seen the Giants or the Mets play there. But my view of the Polo Grounds is of Dusty Rhodes hitting those home runs in the '54 World Series. Just little pop flies, 260 some feet. And you talk about Ryan Howard hitting a relatively cheap home run. Well, there were certain ballparks where you could hit much cheaper home runs.
How about Ebbets Field? The right field line, my goodness. Bandbox.
How about the LA Coliseum when the Dodgers played there down the left field line?
Yep.
Dodgers played at the LA Coliseum for 4 years before Dodger Stadium was built. Another chance for Valentine, and he throws out DeLucci. And of course, the Coliseum it's a football-shaped oval stadium, and so they had to make one line deep. So it was very deep to right and about 250 feet to left with a big screen.
Well, old Sportsman's Park in St. Louis was the Stan Musial era, was a short right field porch, but they had the high screen, but still it was a short right field line.
Ball one to Lieberthal, and Yankee Stadium, you think of the home run porch in right field, it was much shorter in the old days. It was 296 feet down that line. David Wright throws out Lieberthal, so Maine bounces back after the Ryan Howard home run to get the next 3 hitters. But Howard's 42nd of the year has gotten the Phillies back into the game. He now has 108 RBIs, 4-2 New York.
You can't
We go to the 5th inning in Philadelphia. Mets will have the heart of the batting order coming up against Scott Matheson. Mets began this series with a 15-game lead on the Phillies, shaved down to 12. Phillies with a win today could get back to 500 for the season. And that's where the Phillies fit into the wild card standings. You see Colorado right behind them. The Rockies will be at Shea tomorrow night. Carlos Beltran takes a strike. The Diamondbacks, a very intriguing team right now. Last time we saw them, they were left for dead. But they've had an infusion of young talent there that has really helped them out. And you know, sometimes that's all it takes. You know, you add a piece, whether it's a veteran or a young player, and get your season turned around.
See John Maine reacting. He's a little upset with himself with that home run to left field. You know, it's happened with this club too, right here, the Phillies. They were kind of a listless team, weren't they, over the last couple years and this year? And you see the catcher always goes over and talks. They have a conversation.
They look a little agitated.
Well, the home run put him back on the ball game.
Beltran is 1 for 2. He's singled and struck out. And he hits it in the air to deep right center field. DeLucci going back near the wall, and it's out of here. Carlos Beltran with his 34th home run of the year. And that extends the Mets lead to 5-2. So for a team that had been struggling, particularly with the long ball during the month of August, the two Carloses have both gone deep this afternoon.
Well, pitching depth, when you get down in the bottom tail end of the pitching rotations in a lot of clubs, most clubs, it's not big league material. And Matheson is a young kid that needs to be in AAA, honing it down. Nice swing by Beltran there. Belt high fastball, outer half of the plate. Nice and level. He just got under that ball a tad, make it a fly ball, but just a beautiful swing.
And the part of the ballpark where he hit that is not cheap at all. The former Met Rick White up in the Phillies bullpen. Beltran hit that home run to the far end of the scoreboard out there. I mean, that's, you see, 398.
And there.
Driven to deep right field. DeLucci back, and that ball is out of here. Delgado with a line drive home run over the scoreboard fence. His second home run of the day, his 28th of the year. Beltran and Delgado. Carlos squared back-to-back, 6-2 New York. What a shot.
Well, they're just sitting on his fastball. They know that he can't get his breaking stuff and his changeup over. And they're going to come in and have a chat. You look out there in the mound just to buy some time for Rick White to get warm. This is sitting on first pitch fastball. And it's right a fat spot. Got it away. And this is a bullet. That is a line shot.
Down 2 seconds flat. Well, a breakout day for Delgado, and this is what he and the Mets have been waiting for. He had hit just 4 home runs since the 28th of June in 7 weeks. He's hit 2 today. Charlie Manuel's seen enough from Scott Matheson. He's going to go to the bullpen and bring on the former Met Rick White. So Delgado with a breakout afternoon. He has a pair of home runs. Beltran has joined him in home run hitting. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon Wireless. You too can make the switch over to the most reliable network, Verizon Wireless. Sportsnet New York honors the '86 Mets, and you're invited to the party tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Head down to the SNY Studio Plaza at 51st Street and 6th Avenue. Hang out with the '86 heroes like Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez, Tim Tuffle, and Lenny Dykstra, and help celebrate Mets history. Now, Scott Matheson, for the second time in 11 days, gets beat up by the Mets, and 37-year-old Rick White will take over. Now, the first 3 games of this series, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters in the Mets batting order really struggled, and Willie Randolph didn't give any of them the day off today, and look what has transpired.
Well, the only one holding up the rear there is David. David with 2 strikeouts still continues his woes, but both Carloses have certainly put a hurt on the Phillies.
Well, back-to-back home runs by Beltran and Delgado chased Matheson, and now here's White, who began his year with the Cincinnati Reds. Phillies got him on waivers, and Wright swings and misses at the first pitch from White.
Look at that goatee. That is what you'd call a full goatee.
You know, he shaved that off earlier this year. He had that beard for ages, all the way back to his days with the Mets in 2001. But things were going so badly for White, he shaved it off, and he looked like a different person. So he had to grow it back. And Wright takes a call, 3rd strike, and he is just all messed up. 3rd time that Wright's been struck out today.
And David is 1 strikeout away from the century mark.
Well, so for the umpteenth time in the last 17 years, the Mets do not go back to back with home runs. You know the last time they did it?
Tell me. I want to hear it.
I'm sure you do. I'll say Valentine takes ball 1. The last time the Mets did 3 consecutive home runs, and I remember this very well, it was against the Phillies, April 17th, 1989. And I remember it because it was like my 2nd week doing Met games, as Valentine lines a base hit to left field. And I had the pleasure of watching Darryl Strawberry, Kevin McReynolds, and Keith Hernandez hit back-to-back home runs off Don Carmen.
Don Carmen, a left-hander who threw very hard. Thank you. I was the 3rd one in that, huh?
You actually
were the first. Had to be the first.
No, you were the 3rd. Actually, you were hitting behind Straw and McReynolds. Don't ask me why.
I was hitting 5th then, huh? 6th maybe.
But you were actually part of another trio of back-to-backers. Remember this one? Because I don't. Here's Lastic Millage takes ball 1. It was May of '88 in Cincinnati. Tuffle, you, and Straw.
Do you remember who was off?
No. Millage is sacrificed and lined out today. Slider for a strike from White, 2-1. Mets were held to 5 hits last night. They have 9 already today, including 3 home runs. Two and 2 to Millage. Millage has been hitting 8th in the order, but today hitting 7th. With Mike DeFelice batting 8th. No showers in the forecast, right? Utley puts a tag on Valentine and completes the double play. 4-4-3 on the double play to end the inning.
But after the Phillies got 2 runs back on Ryan Howard's home run, the Mets respond in kind. Beltran and Delgado go back-to-back. Delgado's second of the game. And the Mets again have a 4-run lead.
Matt Yaloff here with a Chevrolet Baseball Day in New York update. Orioles and Yankees at the stadium, and Jay Gibbons chipping in, doing his part. Orioles go up 4-2. They now lead 7-2. The O's piling on the Yanks in the 4th inning. Gary?
All right, Matt, and with the Red Sox off today, it means that the Red Sox can pick up a half game in absentia and get within a game and a half before they start that 5-game series with the Yankees tomorrow afternoon.
It's going to be a big series up there in Fenway, that's for sure.
Day-night doubleheader tomorrow. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And the Yankees are a little unsure about their pitching plans for one of those games tomorrow. They may have to call up a first-time starter if Sidney Ponson can't go. Of course, anytime you play doubleheaders, you have pitching uncertainty. By the way, speaking of pitching and fill-ins, looks like the Mets are leaning toward Dave Williams for the start on Saturday night in Pedro Martinez's spot. Williams, a veteran left-hander whom the Mets got in a deal with the Reds earlier this year. We've seen him pitch in the major leagues with Pittsburgh. Abraham Nunez leads off the home 5th. Brian Bannister pitched very well his last start in Norfolk, but he's not on the proper day to pitch Saturday. And Mike Pelfrey on the minor league disabled list with a pulled lat muscle, and so that took him out of the mix. And so it was down to Williams or Oliver Perez, and it has not been fully decided yet, but the feeling is Williams has been pitching a little better, and he may get the call. Chris Woodward is in the game at second base for the Mets. Not sure what happened to Valentine. Remember, he was tagged out in that last double play, and the ball finds Woodward immediately, and he throws on Nunez one away. So we'll try and get word on Valentine. Now Danny Sandoval will bat for the pitcher Rick White.
Well, one thing I've noticed
What's that?
Gary is hardly any more bad hops. The infields are so manicured so beautifully. Always true hops. I know that they come out 3 times a game and drag the field, which I think is a great idea. Something they didn't do when we played. But they just know how to take care of the fields better today. The proper dirt. I mean, there were some fields when I played that were just awful.
Chris Connor, what you got on Valentine?
I noticed him in between innings, guys, and I don't speak Spanish very well, so I couldn't tell what he was saying. He didn't appear hurt, or at least not seriously hurt, but he didn't appear happy either as he went into the clubhouse.
David Wright on the high pop-up by Sandoval has it 2 away. We'll find out more on Valentine. Thanks, Chris. Manny Acta, the Mets' third base coach, perhaps translating for Willie whatever Chris wasn't understanding. You know, it's gotten to the point where all of us who cover baseball for a living ought to learn how to speak Spanish.
We should, especially me. But
Hernandez? Why?
I have no aptitude. I took 2 years in high school because it was the university course. You had to take 2 years of a language. And I couldn't wait for those 2 years to get over with.
I'm with you, kid. I took French for years and years and years, and I still can't speak the language. Of course, there's nobody in that clubhouse speaking French, so that's hardly a relevant point.
So I married very smart. My wife speaks like 4 languages.
Really?
Spanish fluently, French fluently. She can even speak the Deutschland.
Rollins lifted to left center. Beltran and Chavez converge, and Chavez has it, and Maine has himself a 1-2-3 inning. So John Maine, after the blip on the Howard home run, has really started cooking again.
Sixth inning in Philadelphia. And left-hander Aaron Foltz takes over the pitching for the Phils. There you see his season numbers, but he's been pitching very well lately. Mike DeFelice leads off. And he fouls the first one back. DeFelice has his first hit of the season. He singled home a run in the second, then he walked in the fourth. So Mike, who spent most of this season in Double-A, where he was nurturing Mike Pelfrey's progress, and in fact had been bumped up to Norfolk when the Mets sent Pelfrey down specifically so that he could continue working with the Mets' young prospect. But then Ramon Castro got hurt, so DeFelice got called up as John Maine waits on deck. The changeup misses 1-2. Time for the Best of Barbados vacation getaway. If a Met hits a home run, one grand prize winner will win an all-expense-paid trip to the Almond Beach Village Resort in Barbados. To enter or see if you're a contestant, visit sny.tv/Barbados today. DeFelice goes down swinging, one away. And here's John Maine, who's still looking for his first big league hit, but he's got a couple of sacrifice bunts today. And he takes a strike. Let me figure, if you're a pitcher and things are going well and you haven't had a hit, you don't want to mess things up by getting a hit, do you?
Well, it might be a futile effort.
He's saying there's not much.
There's some pitchers that can't hit.
There's not much chance of that happening.
Yes.
Well, not this time. Back-to-back strikeouts for Foltz for the first 2 outs of the 6th. And here comes Jose Reyes, who's been on base 3 straight times today, 2 singles and a walk.
He gets a base hit. He's over that 300 mark.
Already has his 50th stolen base today and his 60th run batted in. 60 RBIs out of the leadoff spot.
No, it's outstanding.
With a quarter of the season to go. Darren Erstad a few years back drove in 100 out of the leadoff spot, but that's different. That's in the American League, where you don't have the pitcher batting in front of you, so you get more opportunities to drive in runs. Rollins makes the play, and an easy inning for Aaron Foltz as he gets the Mets 1-2-3. John Maine with a 6-2 lead. Now on Mets.com, you can download the MLB.TV Mosaic, and with it you can watch up to 6 games simultaneously on one screen, including out-of-market Mets games. It's the highest quality video of live baseball you can watch on the internet. Check it out at Mets.com. Shane Victorino leads off the home 6th, and Maine falls behind him 2-0. 2-1 to Victorino. Chris Conner has an update on Jose Valentin.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, at least not one that can make a diagnosis on the fly. So when I said Valentin didn't appear hurt, maybe he didn't appear, but he is slightly injured. That's a great play by David Wright. Let's see if he can get the out. And no, he cannot. Shane Victorino runs way too well, but a great play by Wright. Anyways, Jose Valentin did suffer a slight strain of the left hamstring, and that's why he was pulled, and that's why I'm sure he was upset that he had to leave the game under such circumstances. But again, as Rick Peterson said the other day, I'm not a medical doctor like Dr. Seuss or Dr. Phil. Guys?
And David Wright appeared to land hard on his right arm as he made that diving play.
Oh, Victorino here is busting. He smells that hit, and he must have hit the bag on. Yeah, he got the bag on his heel. That always hurts.
Both Wright and Victorino hanging right in there as Chase Utley steps in. And he takes ball 1 from Maine.
Well, this is a big important inning right now as you talk about going through the order. You're now through the meat of the order as DeFelice goes out to talk to Maine, but you're going through the heart of the Philly order here in the 6th, and you've got a 4-run lead. You want to get through this inning with no runs and get to the bottom half of the order, 7 and 8.
Lincoln Mercury pitching line. Scott Matheson knocked out after 4 innings plus, allowed 3 home runs. John Maine bidding for his 3rd win, his 2nd against the Phillies. Utley doubled to left center his last time up, and Maine falls behind him 2-0. So Valentin leaves the game with a strained left hamstring. Mets are very fond of using the word slight when they describe injury problems.
Well,
they used the same word to describe Pedro's injury yesterday.
And they love strained.
2-1. But the fact of the matter is a hamstring is a hamstring, and so you have to be concerned about Valentin. And this is something to watch as we go deeper into this season. The Mets have got a lot of reliance on older players. And when you have older players, you have the tendency to sustain more injuries. 2-2 to Utley.
Well, it's right into his area where he likes, down in the knees, and just had 2 same identical pitches and away though, and had trouble with them, Utley. And a lot of times the injuries occur, these strains or slight strains or whatever, they happen in day games that follow night games.
Utley fouls it away.
Tend to get dehydrated. You can get dehydrated. It's an early night. You play the night game no matter, it's summer, a lot of your liquids are out of your body. You got to replenish at night, and the older player doesn't bounce back as quickly as a younger player.
Now let me ask you this, because we've talked about this a lot as the season has gone along. This idea that amphetamines are now banned from baseball. Does that have an impact as well? The fact that guys, you have no idea what the prevalence was, but certainly day games after night games is where those might have been a factor in the past. And does that make a difference in terms of sustaining injuries?
Well, you almost have the feeling you're Superman. You can do something foolish on an amphetamine.
As Utley lofts one into center, it falls for a base hit, and so the Phillies have 2 men on. Back-to-back hits for Victorino and Utley.
Well, here's that little hockey slap swing here. Watch, there's no follow through. Just a little slap. This is not a strike. Kept his hands back, his shoulder in. See the top hand come over. He stayed level. Just not a great swing, but effective.
Rick Peterson's going to take a trip to the mound before Maine works to Ryan Howard, who took him deep his last time up.
Well, don't pitch him away. They're going to pitch him away, show him away, and upstairs, and then come in and get him.
Already today, Howard has hit 2 deep fly balls to left. One caught at the fence by Chavez. The other one that went a couple of rows into the stands for his 42nd home run. Now, coming into this game, John Maine had extraordinary numbers with runners in scoring position against him. In fact, opponents were hitting just 143 with runners in scoring position against Maine. And he's in a big spot here because if Howard gets on, then the tying run would come to bat.
And as my former colleague Tom Seaver would always say, the first most important pitch is the first pitch strike. And now he's thrown behind 2-0 on 2 changeups. And as a hitter, when someone misses with 2 breaking ball or 2 changeups or a combination of the 2, and you're 2-0 in a tight situation, well, he's got to come in number 1. If you don't get it, you can take it.
And Howard takes the fastball at the knees, 2-1. Slider.
Pretty good slider, Gary, on the outside corner, knee high. And like you said, because you're 2-0, that's a pitcher's pitch. You can take it. He's still got pressure on him. 2-1 as you look at Bradford up in the bullpen.
And Howard hits it to deep center field. Beltran back near the wall. He reels it in. Victorino tags. He goes to third. Utley back to first. Howard put a scare into John Maine. 400 feet to center field, but Beltran catches it for the first out.
Well, it's 401 to dead center. Another backdoor breaking ball. Nice swing on this ball. And Carlos, as we know, we've seen enough of Carlos. He just covers the ground, and you see Victorino reads that he's got it. He's going to tag up, and also Utley does the right thing as he's close to second base, as he can score on a double now if it hits off the wall or it's not caught.
That's a big out for John Maine. Now first and third and one out. Here's Pat Burrell. And he pops it up on the left side, right, calling for it. 2 out. Well, they've been giving it to Pat Burrell with increasing ferocity as this series has gone along.
It's been a struggle for him since the trade rumors started swirling back in July. And that's a fastball upstairs, and we talked about it earlier that he's a low ball hitter. And with Maine, that live fastball that he has upstairs could get him to pop up a lot, and he certainly struck out Burrell's 0 for 3. He's not out of the woods yet.
So here's DeLucci, who already has a couple of home runs in this series, 1 for 2 today, and he takes ball 1. Well, in his last 2 starts, Maine has given up some home runs. He gave up home runs to Nick Johnson and Alfonso Soriano in Washington. Home run to Howard today. 7 home runs in 50 innings. And that's about all he's given up. It's been kind of like Pedro. The vast majority of the runs he's allowed have come on home runs. Victorino at third and Utley at first with 2 down. Check swing, foul ball.
It's
1 and 2.
It's interesting how Maine's got a decent breaking ball, and he seems to want to use his changeup a little more than his breaking stuff. He's got a decent breaking ball. I mean, to me, what I see is that his third pitch is his changeup, and he's let a lot of guys off in trouble with changeups. His third pitch, and has fallen behind. He's got a decent slider.
Yeah, he also has a curveball, which he's hardly used at all. I think he threw a curveball in the first inning that missed way up high. I don't know that he's thrown it since. Two-two to DeLucci. Struck him out. John Maine throws the fastball by David DeLucci, and he works out of 6th inning trouble. Phillies got the first 2 men on, but Maine pinned him right there. After 6-2 New York.
I'm Matt Yaloff with a Chevrolet Baseball Day in New York update. Indians and Twins, Justin Morneau, number 31 on the season. The Twins still trail Cleveland in Minnesota 3-1 in the 6th. Back to Gary and Keith in Philadelphia.
All right, Matt, the Twins don't lose very often at the Metrodome. 42-18 at home this year, and that's kept them just 1 game behind the White Sox in the wild card as John Maine settles into the dugout after a successful 6th inning. Andy Chavez leads off the 7th against Aaron Fultz. Andy's been getting more and more at-bats against lefties and has done well with it. But here behind 0-2.
Well, he has just done a fine job this year, and he and Valentin have been the 2 really great additions to this ball club, the unsung heroes, so to speak. We'll have to wait and see. Jose Valentin, with a strained hamstring, had to leave the ball game earlier. See how serious that injury is. They'll reevaluate tomorrow back in New York.
And Chavez loses the bat, lunging for that pitch. And Fultz gets him. 3rd strikeout for Fultz as Carlos Beltran comes to bat with 1 out and nobody on. Carlos today provided our Coors Light cold blast in the 5th.
Oh, watch this level swing. And a ball belt high away, and that's his spot. We've talked about it all year, Gary. That ball out over the plate, belt high. That is his happy area from the left side of the plate.
And now a turnaround about right-handed against Fultz. Beltran now with 34 homers and 99 RBIs, and he takes a strike. Carlos's career high in home runs is 38. He did that 2 years ago in his split season between Kansas City and Houston. Check out the Hyundai in-game box score, and a whole lot more activity in that box score than we've seen the last few days.
Oh boy, that's exciting.
The Carlos is combining for 3 home runs today as Fultz bounces one. Reyes with a couple of hits and a stolen base. More like back to normal for the Mets offense. As you look at Delgado, who already has a couple of home runs today waiting. Inside to Beltran, 3-1. Toward the hole, base hit, and Beltran has his 3rd hit of the game.
Well, we're going to put the clock on this line drive home run here. There's the real time, and we're going to come back and show you again. They're off.
That's fast.
That went out in a hurry, didn't it?
3, 2, 1, go. It did go. Well, Delgado with a pair today is 27th and 28th. He also has a sacrifice fly, so he's now up to 77 runs batted in.
A big uppercut swing here. You can see he swings right through it. Big uppercut.
This is a lefty Delgado has hit before. 5 for 11 against Fultz. Now behind 1-2.
He fishes for a bad breaking ball here. He's starting out. Watch that. See that shoulder fly out. Just wondering. He's still, even though he's got 2 home runs today, I still think he's not quite there. If he were to throw him an up and in fastball right now, I think he'd have him. Let's see the hands go back, the shoulders in, but then look at that, he flies out. Got that weight moving forward.
David Wright will be trying to avoid the golden sombrero when he comes up.
And his 100th strikeout of the season.
It's a bad daily double in an otherwise marvelous season.
You sound like Murph there. Marvelous.
2-2 to Delgado. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Chris Connor with you from Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Final game of the road trip for the Mets. They dropped the first 3 games of this series, but lead today on the strength of a couple of Carlos Delgado home runs as he breaks out of a long slump. And Aaron Fultz, who was ahead of him, now goes to 3-2.
Hasn't thrown 1 pitch inside. God, I love the left-hander that never threw me inside. The problem was there weren't too many.
Let's see if Beltran runs on 3-2. He does, and Delgado rips a base hit, his 3rd of the game. Beltran to 3rd. DeLucci kicks into the corner, and that'll enable Beltran to score. Delgado on his way to 3rd. Throw by Utley, not in time. 7-2 New York. Well, DeLucci tried to cut that ball off with a slide, and all he succeeded in doing was kicking it to the foul pole.
Well, this ball's ripped. It was a hanging curve ball. And you see DeLucci trying to skate save. And Beltran, who can fly here, just wasn't kind of kicking it in gear. And then all of a sudden, I'm sure Manny Acta said, hey, you can score. That's good swing right there on that breaking ball by Beltran. I mean, excuse me, Delgado.
And they've given Carlos Delgado credit for his first triple of the year.
Wow. That's a single and an error. I'm sorry. Well, here's the swing here. Let's see. Watch him stay in. Still opening up too quick. It's just too quick. But that's much better. Look at this. That is much better.
So the Mets now with a 5-run lead. Infield in for Wright, and he pops it up. Howard in foul ground has room. David Wright's miserable day at the plate continues. He's now 0 for 4. So 2 out in the inning. Delgado had 3 triples as a member of the Marlins last year, but that's his first triple as a Met and his 4th run batted in of the game.
Well, he's very appreciative to the Phillies scorekeeper here. You'll take those any way you can get them. That's an RBI and the kip right there.
Chris Woodward up for the first time, took over for Jose Valentin at second base when Valentin suffered a mild strain of his left hamstring. Curveball low, 1-0. So if Valentin has to miss any length of time, that would mean a little more playing time for Woodward, who's been playing very little.
Well, that's what Fultz gets for not even coming in once. Throw an inside pitch to Delgado. Can't live on that outside corner.
2-1 to Woodward. Aaron Fultz will always be remembered by Met fans as the man who threw the pitch to Benny Agbayani in the 13th inning, the 2000 division series against the Giants. Benny hit a home run. Mets went up 2-1. Won the series the next day on Bobby Jones's one-hitter. Benny's still playing in Japan for Bobby Valentine and doing well. 3-2 to Woodward. Little dribbler, and it's a fair ball, and Lieberthal tags out Woodward, and that ends the inning. Woodward thought it was foul. Lieberthal tagged him out. Willie Randolph wants to ask the home plate umpire about it, but the inning comes to an end. Mets add a run to make it 7-2. Well, you may have heard that this September the WB11 is changing into the new CW11. So what does that mean for fans of the WB11 news? Well, the name of the station may be changing, but the CW11 will still be the place to find your favorite news shows in the morning and at night.
You read that so well.
Thank you. On the fly.
I almost had to read that, you know.
You did.
I'm going to read the next one. You going to let me read the next one?
You can read them all. You'll get no argument from me. Mike Lieberthal is 0 for 2. As John Maine works into the 7th inning, working now with a 5-run lead.
Well, we certainly pounded that CW11 into the folks back home enough now. I think
what's the CW11 again? Lieberthal rolls one to third. Right with a bare hand play. Can't be handled out of the dirt, and Lieberthal's safe. An infield single for Mike Lieberthal. As we check out the Toyota National League scoreboard, Braves with a 5-0 lead in Washington, trying to salvage a game in that series. Cincinnati and St. Louis, rubber game of that series, with the Cardinals just a 1.5 games in front of the Reds. And Arizona playing in Colorado. Arizona just a game back in the wild card chase. Giants are in San Diego after winning a 13-inning affair last night, as Abraham Nunez fouls away the first one.
So you saw Jake Peavy 6-11. Remember earlier in the year, it looked like he was going to be Cy Young.
And the Padres have really fallen back since the Mets saw them. They've now fallen 3 games behind in that National League West. And Bradford and Feliciano get ready. Nunez goes the other way, slicing away from Chavez, a foul ball. 0-2 to Nunez. Well, the Dodgers finally lost a game last night. Got beat by the Marlins 15-4, only their second loss in 19 games.
Well, ever since that series, you look at the Fanatic. Well, the Mets swept San Diego. They kind of sent them on their way. They were on a hot streak. And now it's the Dodgers.
And Arizona hanging right in there. And, you know, the Diamondbacks are a very intriguing team right now. They've got Brandon Webb back healthy, and he's pitching today. Nunez flares one over the head of Woodward into right center. Lieberthal to second. He'll stop there as Beltran plays it in. And the Phillies, for the second straight inning, get the first two men on.
Well, good hitting right here. Just didn't get it in enough. It came out over the middle or the inner half. Good hitting by Nunez.
Well, Nunez has been a hot hitter. He's now got a 9-game hitting streak. And who's going to bat for the Phillies? Nobody has come out as of yet. There's Aaron Rowan putting the shin guard on, so it looks like he'll be the pinch hitter. Rowan getting the day off today after starting the first 3 games of the series in center field and going 0 for 11 in the 3 games. But Rowan will bat here. The Phillies go with a 4-man bench because they have a 13-man pitching staff. Fabio Castro getting ready to come on to pitch in the 8th inning. So it's a little difficult for Charlie Manuel to maneuver things sometimes with that bench.
Well, that Fabio Castro is the reason. You look at Willie going out here.
And maybe all for Maine. He's got Bradford ready to face the right-hand hitter, and Willie will take the ball. So Maine leaves after 6 innings plus and leaves with a 7-2 lead. Not happy with the way things ended up, but overall another good outing for Maine. And Chad Bradford will come on to replace him as Maine's afternoon is over.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Sterling Mats and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Sterling Mats.
Chad Bradford on to pitch for New York. Pitched a 1-2-3 inning last night.
Well, this is his situation. He's been the one man that Willie has gone to the most with the men on base. He has truly been the fireman here in this staff.
And they'll try to strand a couple here with the right-hand pinch hitter Aaron Rowan coming up. Lieberthal at second and Nunez at first after back-to-back base hits to start the 7th. John Maine gave up back-to-back base hits to start the 6th and was able to work out of that jam, but not given a chance to do so here after 99 pitches over 6 innings plus. And so it's Bradford to come on to face Rowan. Maine did not walk a batter, gave him 8 hits, struck out 4, and you just have to love the way he goes about his task. And the Mets got him some runs today to work with.
Well, the Mets were overdue for runs, obviously, and Maine is the recipient of it. But yes, you got to love the way Maine works. He's not afraid to go after hitters.
So here's Bradford, who faced Rowan last night, and Rowan hit a line drive to center that Beltran caught. Rowan is 1 for 7 in his career against Bradford. And Chad looking for the double play ball. Throws the first pitch slider for a strike. Jimmy Rollins waiting on deck. And Bradford gets ahead 0-2. Rowan struggling a bit right now, hitting .253 for the year. But as we mentioned, 0 for 11 in this series. struck him out. Bradford on 3 pitches gets Rowan 1 away.
Well, there's one big out, and this is the slider. Gets a lot of the plate. He swung right through it.
So 1 away, and here's Rollins, who up until last night was in a great hot streak, but went 0 for 4 last night, 0 for 3 today. And he takes a strike, and Bradford has come out throwing nothing but strikes. Last year was a lost season for Chad Bradford. His back acted up. Didn't pitch well when he got a chance in Boston, but he has just been tremendous this year. Rollins pops it up. Infield fly rule should be called. The batter's out. Wright's got it 2 away.
Well, 1 out away from putting out another fire here, Chad Bradford.
Here's Victorino with 2 out and 2 on. Victorino had an infield hit his last time up. Phillies 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position today. That one was the 2-run homer by Ryan Howard. And Victorino takes a first pitch fastball for a strike. You have to put fastball in quotation marks when it's 79 to 81. 81, that's his hard fastball.
Well, he gets such great sinking action because he's obviously a submariner.
Right back off the leg of Bradford, deflects over to Delgado. He'll have no play, and the bases are loaded. Delgado will check to make sure that Bradford's okay. And for taking that shot from Victorino.
Well, this is your approach. A submariner's going to throw that sinker away, and you go up the middle with him here. And that's a big hit right here, because you've got Chase Utley, and I believe Willie Randolph's going to come out here and make a move to the left-hander, Pedro Feliciano.
Well, this has been the way they've played it with the tag team of Bradford and Feliciano. Bradford appears to be okay after taking that shot off his leg, but Willie will take the ball, make sure that Bradford's all right, and bring on Feliciano to face Utley with the bases loaded here in the bottom of the 7th. The Mets up by 5. Well, the Mets came to the ballpark today just hoping to get a win after losing 3 straight to the Phillies. They came out aggressively. Jose Reyes stole his 50th base, and then the long balls happened. Carlos, and Carlos. And the Mets able to build a 7-2 lead, and now trying to hang on to it here in the bottom of the 7th at Citizens Bank Park. As Pedro Feliciano comes in to face Chase Utley.
This is Pedro's 2nd appearance in this series. He pitched in the 2nd game in that 11-4 blowout, had 2 scoreless innings, but this is a tough situation here. This is what you bring a reliever in for, to get the first out.
Well, he struck out Utley in that game the other night. Now Utley up in a bigger spot, and he takes the breaking ball for a strike. Well, this is a huge batter, because if Utley gets on, then Ryan Howard would come up, the league's leading home run hitter, as the tying run. Lieberthal at 3rd, Nunez at 2nd, Victorino at 1st. With Howard looming. Utley is 2 for 3 today, a single and a double. Now has 159 hits to lead the National League. Maine and Bradford looking on. And the fastball misses 1-1. Well, when Feliciano's gotten him, he's really gotten him. Struck him out 4 times in 6 at-bats. 1-1. Utley can't stop the swing on the breaking ball way out of the strike zone. 1-2.
Well, you know, you got a side armor like Feliciano. You can look bad on a breaking ball. And Utley there obviously got out in front. Now he's got to bear down big time here. Shorten up. Just try to get a base hit. Everything's been away. 2 breaking balls away and a fastball away.
1-2 to Utley. Just got a piece. Chase Utley emerging as one of the real stars in this league. Scored his 100th run today, leads the National League in that category. Hitting .333 with runners in scoring position this year. Feliciano ahead of him 1-2. Got him looking. Strike 3 call, and Utley's out of there. Pedro Feliciano comes on to strike out Chase Utley in strand 3.
Head to Shea Saturday, August 26th.
Be sure to be at Shea tomorrow at 7:10 when the Mets host the Rockies for the start of a weekend series, including the big Saturday night reunion of members of the 1986 championship team. Then the Cardinals come to New York next Tuesday for a 3-game set. Go to Mets.com now for your prorated season tickets. Rookie left-hander Fabio Castro takes over for the Phillies.
And you were talking earlier, Gary, about why the Phillies only have 4 guys on their bench, and this is the reason. He's a Rule 5 guy. He has to remain on the big league roster throughout the rest of the season because he's a Rule 5. So therefore, they're carrying 13 pitchers, 8 in the pen.
And Lasting's Millage swings at the fastball and misses.
Really hinders the manager as far as his bench.
And yet, when Castro has pitched this year, he's pitched very effectively. A lot of times with those Rule 5 guys, you're reluctant to use them at all. Now, Castro only got here in late June in a deal with Texas. He's actually been dealt twice since he was taken in the Rule 5 draft out of the White Sox organization last winter. To third base, and Nunez has it. Throws out Millage, 1 away. Basically what the Rule 5 draft means is that any player who's not on a 40-man roster can be selected by any other team for just $50,000, which
Is he have to be out of options or no?
No, any player who's had a certain, I think has to have been a pro for 3 years,
yes,
something like that.
Right.
But any player who meets that requirement is not on the 40-man roster can be plucked, but the proviso is you have to keep them all year. And then if you want to give him back, he has to pass through waivers, and another team can take him, and then they have to keep him for the rest of the year. So Castro's moved twice, but stayed in the big leagues, first with Texas and now with the Phillies. 1-1 to D. Felice. You saw Julio Franco waiting on deck to pinch hit. D. Felice has his first hit of the season today, 1 for 2 and a walk. And Castro just threw it by him. Aaron Howman getting set to pitch the bottom of the 8th.
See, D. Felice kind of likes a thicker handle. Not real thick, overly thick, but more of a medium's handle. Certainly not the kind that Nellie Fox used to use. It's not, you could even wrap some tape around it, which gives it more thickness.
I don't see too many guys with that much tape on their gamers. Get foul the other way.
I never liked having tape on my handles. My bat handles. I did like that little flange in the end, that little flare at the knob.
Give a little more to rest your hand against.
You used to get blister on your blood blisters on your palm of your hand from the knob.
Popped up by DeFelice. Ryan Howard is there. And there are 2 out. And now Franco will pinch hit for Feliciano, who did his job striking out Utley with the bases loaded to keep it a 5-run lead. Mets continue to get outstanding bullpen work in the absence of Duaner Sanchez.
That has certainly been the case, and Bradford came in and with runners on first and second, no out, got 2 outs, gave up a hit, and Feliciano come in with the bases loaded and got the big strikeout of Utley.
And Franco fouls it off. Julio with 13 pinch hits this year. Hitting .277 overall. Julio will turn 48 years of age in a week. Reyes on deck. And Franco facing 21-year-old Fabio Castro, and Julio has socks older than Castro.
Well, he's certainly played longer than in the major leagues than Castro's been alive. Food for thought.
I think Julio had probably won a batting title by the time Castro was born. It is it's a generational quirk. And he strikes out on the breaking ball, so Castro fans Franco, and he pitches a 1-2-3 8th inning. So the Rule 5 pick, when called upon, is doing a great job for the Phillies, but it's the Mets with a 5-run lead as Heilmann takes the mound for the bottom of the 8th. In 2006, Hyundai, the Mets, and Sportsnet New York are teaming up to strike out cancer. For every K the Mets pitching staff registers, Hyundai, the Mets, and Sportsnet New York will donate $25 to the Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund. If you'd like to help, please go to www.hopeandheroes.org. Oh, no, wait a second. I was supposed to let you read that.
I got the next one.
Oh, absolutely. Next one is in your hands.
You hog everything.
I just forgot. Sorry. Can I make it up to you?
Yes.
Well, it's a beautiful day for baseball, and here in Philadelphia today they have their largest crowd in the history of this ballpark, 45,775.
You got a ball. There's a Met fan.
He got a thunder stick.
Oh, I hate those thunder sticks.
Well, all you have to do is bang 2 bottles together. You get the same effect, right? Isn't it a little late for all-star ballots? Oh, that's the Hometown Heroes ballot. Got to vote for your hometown heroes. See, anything a kid can make noise with, he's going to make noise with. As Aaron Heilmann takes over the pitching in the bottom of the 8th. Aaron pitching for the 2nd time in this series, worked a hitless inning on Tuesday night. Here's Ryan Howard, who's accounted for the only Phillies offense today, and he lashes one into center field for a base hit. So Howard, who has hit 2 fly balls to the wall and 1 over the wall, has himself a single. And here's Pat Burrell.
Well, Pat Burrell's been hearing the boos here.
Hearing more now. Burrell is 0 for 3 today, 1 for 7 in this series. Has a home run in his career against Aaron Heilmann. But that's true of almost everybody who's ever pitched for the Mets against Pat Burrell. 35 career home runs against the Mets. takes a strike 0-2. Did you have a team that you particularly thrived against?
Yes, I had several. I had the Cubs, the Dodgers, Padres, Atlanta.
And that was over a period of years?
Yes, I just particularly the Dodgers and the Cubbies. Teams I struggled against. Montreal. I did not fare well against Montreal.
Just missed 2-2. But I mean, if you had a team that you hit well against, did you feel it going into a series? Did you know I'm going to have a big series because I'm facing this team? Did you feel that the way, you know, it seems like Burrell does sometimes against the Mets?
Well, I'll put it this way.
As he pulls one foul.
If I was swinging the bat good, absolutely. If I wasn't swinging the bat good, felt I had a chance to break out. So Montreal, and that's one thing. Darryl Strawberry hitting cleanup behind me. He wore out Montreal, particularly up in Montreal. It took so much pressure off of me because I did not hit well in Montreal.
In there for a call, strike 3, and Burrell's troubles continue.
Tough town. He just got fooled on a nice fastball inside corner. Caught looking for a change.
So 1 out and 1 on, and here's David DeLucci, 1 for 3 on the day. Taken low. Pavarotti is clearing his throat. You're going to want to stay tuned for this, folks.
I'm doing my first promo.
1-1 to DeLucci. I love the fact that you're doing your homework here and reading this promo over before you actually read it on the air. That's good, strong work on your part.
Does this make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. Doesn't make sense to me. I'll just read it.
Just read the words as they're written. Speak the speech as I pronounce it to you, trippingly on the tongue. I wish I had a pair like that. Heilman ahead on DeLucci, 1-2. And he just misses with the changeup, 2-2. Aaron Heilman has taken over this 8th inning, and he has really run with it. He had the one bad outing in Florida, but other than that, he has been terrific since taking over Duaner Sanchez's inning.
He has accepted the challenge and thrived.
Strikes out DeLucci. Back-to-back strikeouts for Heilman.
All right, folks, the Jets are taking flight in 2006. So is their TV home? Sportsnet New York. Catch a special encore of preseason action. The New York Jets versus the Washington Redskins. The Skins for you football fans. Preseason encore Saturday at 11, only on the best network in New York, on Sportsnet New York.
Very nicely performed.
Oh,
there's an Emmy in there for you somewhere.
I will fly back up from Florida to accept it.
But only for an hour. Lee Rethal is 1 for 3, had an infield hit. I think we're going to let you do more of those. Did so well. One and 2 to Lieberthal.
Boy, Heilman just keeping everybody off balance here. Excellent changeup, sinking down and in.
Gave up a leadoff hit to Howard. He's still at first with 2 out. Little check swing. Looper. In comes Chavez. Side retired. So Heilman with another effective 8th inning pushes this game to the 9th. 7-2 New York.
Matt Yaloff here with a Chevrolet Baseball Day in New York update. White Sox and Royals. Sox having trouble with KC this week, but your main die, number 33 on the year, it's 3-2 Sox. They're playing right now in the 6th. Gary?
All right, Matt. White Sox trying to bounce back after the Royals blitzed them 10-4 last night. That sliced the White Sox lead down to 1 game in the wild card standings. The Twins are playing right now and trailing 3-2 to Cleveland in the 9th.
The Yankees are getting murdered by Baltimore, 12-2.
Can you say looking ahead? I mean, really, they've got the 5-game series with the Red Sox starting tomorrow with a day-night doubleheader, and there was every reason for them to look past the Orioles.
Absolutely.
And they may wind up losing 2 out of 3 in that series. Jose Reyes leads off in the 9th against Fabio Castro. Reyes 2 hits, a walk, a stolen base, or an RBI. The only thing he hasn't done today is score a run. He's got 98 of those this year, 2nd in the league. Andy Chavez on deck. Mets will be heading home after the game today, welcoming the Rockies tomorrow night. First meeting of the year between the Mets and the Rockies. Keith will be heading to 51st and 6th tomorrow at 11:30.
Oh, very excited.
Join Ronnie and Tim Tuffle and Lenny Dykstra. So come on over to SNY and meet your heroes. 2-2 to Reyes. How do you like being people's hero?
I never gave it much thought, really, to be honest with you.
A lot of people think about you in that context, though.
Well, they shouldn't.
Reyes hits one to left, and Burrell is there. That's the first out. 1 away.
Oh, there's camera. Oh, excuse me, Gary. Carter. I thought it was camera for a minute.
I'm going to tell him you said that.
That was Gary's nickname, folks. Camera Carter. We used to call him Camera. And you want to know why? He always knew when the red light on the cameras down in the dugouts, which are down the left field and right field line, both dugouts. Whenever there was pop-ups near the seats, this red light goes on when he's up. But it was on top before, right, Webby? And Gary would be looking for a pop-up, and he would know that light was on him. And he'd take that mask off, and he'd rush up into near the seats and make this valiant effort. So we always called him Camera.
Now, you teased him about that, of course.
Of course.
But just think about this. He was ahead of his time. As Chavez drives one to left, but Burrell's got room. 2 away. Because now, who is it who waits for the red light and knows when the red light is on? You.
I understand.
You've learned this at a little older age. Kid was just ahead of you.
Well, I learned it from a Hall of Famer.
2 out and nobody on. Here's Beltran, who's had a big day.
We used to call him Camera Carter or Kid Camera. It's all part of the clubhouse banter. The needling that went on in our clubhouse.
We kid you because we love you. Ball 1 to Beltran. Carlos with his 34th home run of the year today, his 99th RBI. It's been a big day for the Carloses, a bounce back kind of a day. Beltran and Delgado between them, 6 hits in 7 at bats, 3 homers, 5 RBIs. It's been a Carlos kind of a day. Three and 0. Well, maybe another shot for Delgado if Beltran gets aboard. Delgado already with 2 homers and 4 RBIs today, even has a triple. Here's a strike, 3-1. And Beltran rips one down the line for his 4th hit of the day. And he cruises into second base with a double. 2 singles, a home run, and now a double for Carlos Beltran. After going 0 for his previous 9, he has a 4 for 5 afternoon.
Well, he gets ahead 3-1 here and gets a fastball inner half, belt high, and just rips it down the line.
31st double for Beltran, and so another crack for Delgado. Geico Sports Night, the news and information source for all New York area sports fans. Geico Sports Night covers the stories that New York sports fans care about. 6 p.m., 10 p.m., and 1 a.m. every night, only on Sportsnet New York. Well, here's Delgado. He's had himself a huge afternoon. Sacrifice fly in the first got the Mets started. In the 3rd inning, he barely missed a home run foul and then hit one over the center field fence. He lined a home run to right in the 5th, and then he lined a base hit to right in the 7th that DeLucci booted, and he got credit for a triple. A 4 RBI day for Delgado. Castro leans him back 2-1. Fabio Castro is 5'7". He throws pretty hard.
Throws hard, straight as a string.
David Wright on deck. He's had a rough day at the plate. Toward the middle, Utley to his right, playing deep, and he's able to throw Delgado out to end the inning. A double and 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Looks like Billy Wagner's going to come on in his old haunts to try and close it out. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Jeep, the all-new 7-passenger Jeep Commander. It's your world. Take command. By Aflac. Ask about it at work. And by the New York State Smokers Quit line. Call 1-866-NY-QUITS for free help and advice. Start your smoke-free life today. Billy Wagner on to pitch for the first time in this series. A non-save situation with a 5-run lead. Abraham Nunez leads off 1-0. Well, Billy did not get as negative a reception as you would expect, but maybe that's because half the crowd is left. Billy is not the most beloved figure in this town. He had a brilliant year for the Phillies last year, but not only left as a free agent, but both before and after he left said some things that didn't make his former teammates very happy.
Much what Corey Lytle said. The same criticism.
Well, the difference is Lytle didn't say anything when he was here. Wagner did. He had the courage to say what he felt while he was a Philly. I think his former teammates were a lot angrier at Lytle for waiting until he left and then being critical. That led to the Arthur Rhodes comments about Lytle, saying that between starts he'd sit in the clubhouse and eat ice cream. Nunez toward the hole, cut off by Wright. Nicely done. Spins and throws, and he got him. Well, on an otherwise forgettable day for David Wright, he makes a terrific play.
Well, he really ranges far to his left here. Does the spin move. Nice play. Very nice. Knows he has time. Nicely done.
You can always find a way to contribute, and Wright does there as we check out the AOL game summary. Carlos Delgado, a breakout day, 2 homers, a triple. Carlos Beltran with 4 hits, and John Maine on his way to his 3rd win. Want a better high-speed internet? You belong at AOL. Chris Coast pinch hitting. Coast went 3 for 3 last night, including a home run off Tom Glavine. And Wagner falls behind him 2-0. Coast, the 33-year-old rookie, with Jimmy Rollins waiting on deck. (3-0).
Well, these are the things that Wagner can do that get people nervous. You got a 5-run lead. Bring it on up there. Played with Gene Tennis and the Cardinals with a game like this, when someone came in the 9th inning to mop it up. He wouldn't even give a sign. The pitcher looking for a sign, and Gene would just go with his hands like, come on, just bring the fastball. Let's go. We're not kidding around here. Let's go in and have a beer after this game. Throw strikes.
And Wagner does, and Coast lines it into center field. So Chris Coast's magical carpet ride continues. This guy's just
amazing.
He's living a dream.
Yes, it is. It is amazing. It's a good story. Good feel-good story. All those years in the minors.
I mean, he was fortunate even to have a job in organized baseball after spending 4 years playing for the Fargo Redhawks in the Independent Northern League. Finally got a chance in the Indians organization, and Charlie Manuel remembered him and brought him over to the Phillies. And it's worked out for Coast. Strike called to Rollins. Rollins 0 for 4 today after going 0 for 4 last night. The Phillies have 11 hits today, but they've been held to just 2 runs. John Maine worked himself out of a jam in the 6th and got help doing so in the 7th from Bradford and Feliciano. And Rollins hits one to center field, playable for Beltran. 2 out. So the Phillies are down to their final out of the afternoon as the Mets work at averting the sweep. And all that stands between Wagner and the end of this one is Shane Victorino.
So if you're a Philly, you came into this series, you got up to 12 games, you sweep, you're at 11 feeling good, you lose the final game, you're back to 13. It's like you did all that paddling and got nowhere.
I think that's true to a certain extent, except that I don't think the Phillies are even looking at the Mets. They're looking at the Wildcats.
Yes.
Started the day 2.5 behind the Reds.
The Mets are just in a position where teams, they have to collapse. And people have to sweep them. And people have to put streaks together like the Dodgers are doing right now. And the Mets would have to reciprocate and have a reversal and just completely fold a 10. It's just not going to happen.
Victorino grounds it to the hole. Reyes with the backhand play gets the force to end the ball game. And the Mets, after losing 3 straight here in Philadelphia, turn it around this afternoon. Wagner finishes it up for John Maine. A big day for the Carloses. Delgado with 2 home runs and a triple. Beltran with 4 hits, including a home run, as the Mets cruise to a 7-2 win and boost that lead back up to 13 games in the National League East.
Well, as we were talking, Gary, it's just a situation here where Willie, before the game, we got to get back on the track. You don't want the Phillies to get any thoughts, get them to 11. They win this final game back to 13. Things are looking good.
Well, Willie resisted the temptation to rest his regulars today. He had them out in force, and Beltran and Delgado made him feel good about that decision. So the Mets win it 7-2. Be sure to join us tomorrow as the Mets return home for the big weekend series against the Colorado Rockies. Game 1 tomorrow night at 7 o'clock here on SNY. Coming up next, it's Nissan Postgame Live. Mets prepared themselves for a buggy afternoon, and it turned out to be a terrific afternoon. John Maine was on his game. The Mets came out aggressively. Reyes stole his 50th base, And then the Carloses went to work. Bang, bang, and bang. And that was plenty for the Mets on this day as they wipe out the Phillies 7-2. Now for Keith Hernandez, Chris Cotter, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen. Let's go to Matt Yaloff in our Sportsnet New York studio.
All right, thanks a lot, Gary. Coverage of the Mets continues here on Sportsnet New York with Nissan Postgame Live. Ron Darling is here. He'll break down this game between the Mets and Phils. Also, plenty of reaction from the Mets, including Willie Randolph's post-game comments. And don't miss Daily News Live coming up at 5 o'clock with continuing Mets coverage, a roundtable discussion with your host, Gary Apple. But it's Nissan Post-Game Live. It's with Ron Darling, and it's coming up after this. So the Mets avoid the sweep and gain a game back in the standings, but the story today was the Bats. They were alive. This is Nissan Postgame Live. Ron Darling, Matt Yaloff here inside the SNY studios. It is a good guess that the happiest man on that bus back up the turnpike is Carlos Delgado.
Well, we're going to have something good to talk about Carlos Delgado today as he really broke out of that slump.
Yeah, it's good to see, certainly for Carlos Delgado. They need him, and for the Mets team, the Bats are alive. The offense is back. This is how it all unfolded in South Philadelphia at Citizens Bank Park. There is Jose Valentin. It's either bug spray or sunblock, whatever it is. He's looking good for the game, and the Mets were looking good. Carlos Beltran, the liner to right. That's a single. Endy Chavez was on. He goes from first to third, and the Mets are cooking. Next batter, Carlos Delgado. Chance to cash in, and he does. Ron, sac fly center field.
He had a big day today, arguably his best at bat, though, in that first inning with that sac fly.
Interesting, because he was more productive than that as the game goes on. How about John Maine trying to get the Mets back on the winning track? He's been very, very good. Bottom of the first, Phil's down 1-0. John Maine strikes out Chase Utley. Never an easy thing to do. Second inning. Runners on second and one out, and Mike DeFelice chips in. You got to like that.
Well, usually the backup catcher is Ramon Castro. He is nursing that lat, and so it's great to see DeFelice coming through.
All right, and Jose Reyes comes through. He's been hot. We'll hear from him in just a little bit. The single, and Mike DeFelice comes in from second. It's 3-0 Mets. More Reyes during this Chavez at bat. There he goes. That's number 50 on the year, 60 last year, 50 this year.
50th stolen base, and that was his 60th RBI prior to that.
And he's the first Met with consecutive 50 stolen base seasons. That's quite an achievement. How about this? Reyes with the glove. So he's got the feet, he's got the glove, he's got it all. He's got a new contract as well, if you haven't been around for a while. Mike Lieberthal. Actually, this is a solo shot to dead center field. Carlos Delgado, his 27th on the year. The Mets up 4-0. Fourth inning. Phil's down still. Chase Utley, the double to the gap. Great hitter, isn't he?
Chase Utley, with that big hitting streak this year of 35. Mets stopped it, but he's one of the future phenoms.
All right, next batter is the other part of that tandem on the infield. On the right side, Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard has 42 home runs this year. Half of them been to the opposite field.
Has there ever been a hitter built better for that ballpark at Citizens Bank?
Now, that guy could hit one out of Yellowstone, right? Beltran now, the shot to right center field. That's gone, so Beltran has 34 this year. The Mets are up 5-2, so they get it right back, and that's big, and they get some more back. Delgado with his second home run, number 28, so is he back?
Well, we thought he would break out yesterday against Lieber. Didn't happen, but he is back for today.
Chase Utley getting fancy there, the tag, the throw. And then Jose Valentin would leave the game after that hit, or that play, with a strained hamstring. We'll talk more about that in a second. Chris Woodward was in. John Maine still rolling. He gets his guy. Then how about this? How about Carlos Delgado? Look at the wheels on. That's Beltran. Look at, gets away from DeLucci, and Delgado is on the move. He is into third base with a triple. 7-2 Mets. Bottom seven, still 7-2. Bases loaded. This is a big out. Pedro Feliciano freezes Chase Utley with the bases loaded. If Utley comes through, then the Phillies are cooking, but they're not, because they're done. They're cooked. 7-2 the final. John Maine in the dugout throughout, applauding the play, applauding the win. 37-26 on the road, and those 37 wins, the most in the league on the road. John Maine was very good. Carlos Beltran, he goes deep. His first home run, you saw that. It's his first home run since August 1st. Jose Valentin left the game with a hamstring issue. Let's talk about this because, Ron, he has been so good and they cannot afford, they are in no position to let this guy be out for a long period of time or suffer a setback.
Except when you hear about a strained left hamstring, that sounds like it's good news because it sounds like something that they can really get over in maybe a couple of weeks, maybe 15 days. With that big lead again, back up to 13 now, they can give him some rest and get Woodward some at-bats. So even though it's a bad thing, it sometimes can turn into a good thing.
But outfield heavy, yes, a lot of outfielders, not a whole lot of infielders.
Well, that might change because Leday and Tucker are up right now, but they could make a change right there and bring up another infielder, maybe Anderson Hernandez.
Yeah, well, one infielder who doesn't need a replacement. In fact, he pretty much does everything. We saw him in the highlights there, the steal, the play in the field, on the bases. Jose Reyes spoke with Chris Cotter just about 5 minutes ago.
Well, this is how good of a year it's been for Jose. He gets 2 hits, an RBI, a stolen base, a great diving play, and he asked me, what did I do? Jose, how important was it to get this win here in Philadelphia as much as you guys struggled the first 3 games?
I mean, it's really important because, like you say, we've been struggling the first 3 games, and to get this win is so important for us to go to us home.
Also, when you talk about importance, to get a guy like Carlos Delgado going, he hits 2 long bombs today, and he really has had a power outage. How important is it for him to get going in the middle of that lineup?
I mean, it's really important, you know, because he's the power guy in this lineup, you know, and I say I don't worry about Carlos because he's going to be fine, you know. He knows what he had to do to get better in home plate.
Coming into this game, you scored 4 runs. You were responsible for all of them, but in the first 3 games, is there any explanation, anything you can point to as to why you might have this little lull at this point in time in the season?
I mean, you know, sometimes that thing's going to happen, you know, but all we have to do is stay up and try to come every day with the same energy.
Going home for a long homestand, really your longest homestand in a long time. How good is that going to be to get back at Shea in front of the home folks, sleep in your own bed, get off the road for a little while?
I mean, yeah, it's going to be great for us, you know, play in New York, in our house, so we play so good there, so it's going to be a exciting series for us.
Okay, thanks, Jose.
Thank you.
All right, win or lose, Jose Reyes with the smile certainly deserves one today as the Mets beat the Phils. We have much more to do here on Nissan Postgame Live. Ron and I come back to break down this game even further. We'll talk about Delgado and Howard, and we join Keith Hernandez. We'll get his reaction and opinion on today's win. And Willie Randolph also addresses the media after each and every game. We will hear from the Mets manager as Nissan Postgame Live rolls on a Thursday early evening in New York City. Back here on Nissan Postgame Live, Ron Darling, Matt Yaloff in Midtown Manhattan. Keith Hernandez standing by live in Philadelphia. Keith, you know, the lead is huge. We know about the lead, but how important is it to have that good feeling as you head home for 3 more games against Colorado?
Well, you know, you don't want to get swept anywhere, and particularly in a 4-game series, because that's, you know, that's a sweep. So Philly put all this effort in to get to 12, and they could have got to 11. Okay, it's still a long way to go, but now all that work, and they're back to 13. They're ready to go home, play some home games, get in front of the home folks. I think it's a big win, and John Maine just pitched real well today.
You know, Keith, it's great to talk about Carlos Delgado in a positive way, of course, with the 2 home runs and the triple, but I think that at-bat in the first inning was key with that sacrifice fly.
Yeah, he's been struggling, kind of feeling for the ball out in front. I thought the at-bat off the triple off of Fultz was really his best at-bat of the day. As Fultz just was a multiple pitch at-bat, and he got a lot of pitches away, and he actually hit a hanging breaking ball. He stayed back and waited. So I thought that was his best at-bat, even though he had 2 solo home runs, 3 hits on the day, 4 RBI. But certainly the 2 Carloses today, Beltran and Delgado, were the big keys of this ball game.
All right, David Wright, Keith, 2 home runs since the All-Star break. Now, we know he took part in that home run derby. Do you think or do you see a change in his swing? Because the power numbers have really dropped off dramatically.
I don't see a change right now. He's just not waiting. He's kind of getting pitched away right now, if you've noticed. He's been fishing after a lot of bad sliders just off the strike zone and taking a lot of called third strikes, fastballs on the outside corner. So the outside pitch right now is kind of giving him a little bit of trouble. I think he needs a day off. I was kind of surprised. I mean, when you're 23, 24 years old, you don't need a day off. You can play every day. And Willie demands that from his players. But I think a day off might just do him some good because he went 0 for 4 today. He struck out 3 times. Give him a day off. Let him just kick back, take batting practice, not have to go up there and have 4 at-bats, and then come back fresh the next day.
All right, Keith, thanks so much. In Philadelphia, We appreciate it. Mets and Phils wrap up that 4-game set at Citizens Bank Park. Now the box score from the Mets' point of view. Let's continue on here with David Wright. 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts, so he is struggling. Jose Reyes, we showed you the 50th stolen base. Consecutive seasons now, 50 stolen bases or more. Carlos Beltran, four hits today and 99 RBIs on the season, so he's one away from that magical number. Carlos Delgado, Ron, 27 and 28, his first home runs this month. That's amazing.
It is amazing. It's good to see Delgado get those home runs, show some power, and Beltran is going to smash that RBI record of Mike Piazza if he stays healthy.
All right, the Phillies' point of view. Ryan Howard continues to pound NL pitching. He goes deep in this game, but the Mets kept him quiet for the first 3 games. So all in all, they actually did a nice job against Howard.
They did a nice job, but the key was they beat up on the rookie pitcher, Scott Matheson. He had an ERA over 6 coming in. Those are the kind of guys you have to beat up on.
All right, now we talk about Howard. You saw the home run. How about Carlos Delgado? 2 lefties, power hitters. Why are they different, Ron?
Well, you look at them. They're both big, strong, powerful guys, but one, Delgado on the left, he will hook the ball. He'll take a ball in the middle of the plate and hook it to center or right field. And Howard, just the opposite. He stays back. You see that head and those hands are open, and he hits that ball to left field. It really is a home run park, the left field, with the wind blowing out in Philadelphia at Citizens Bank Park. And I'll tell you, never has there been a hitter that built better for a park than Ryan Howard in Citizens Bank Park.
All right, now as far as the hands go, give us something here without the comfort of a bat to show us the difference in hand position with these two guys.
Delgado has a strong top hand, so his hand comes over. As opposed to Ryan Howard, his hand stays flat. And that's the difference why Howard hits him to left field and Delgado pulls him to right or center.
How do you generate that kind of power as Ryan Howard without turning the hand over?
Well, the key for Ryan Howard is I saw him downstairs at the Diamond Club, Shea Stadium, and I shook his hand.
Yeah.
That's where he gets the power from. I mean, I have big hands. He made me feel like a girly man because he has huge hands, and that's where he gets all his power from.
Oven mitts is what you're talking about. Oven mitts. How about the pitching line today? We talked about John Maine. John Maine gets it done. Quality stuff, and the pen also good. Feliciano got a huge out against Chase Utley.
Huge strikeout, but look at that for John Maine. Bases on balls in a home run park, 0. That is the key. And John Maine, how does he do it? He does it by he's aggressive. He throws his fastball much more than any other starting pitcher for the Mets. And after he gave up the home run to Howard, a lot of rookie pitchers in a small ballpark, they might wilt, they might give in, they might have trouble, but Maine didn't. He came back in the 6th inning with runners on 1st and 2nd, and he was able to work out of it. He kept Ryan Howard in the ballpark, and then he was able to go against the meat of that lineup. Pat Burrell now getting booed in Philadelphia. He got him to pop up on a fastball in, as you see the disgust on Burrell. And then to finish up the inning, DeLucci, who's really killed the Mets so far this year, he blows his fastball by him. Maine, aggressive with the fastball. That's what's made him so successful.
In the pregame show, you talked about John Maine maintaining focus. This is good for any pitcher, but is this even more impressive because he tends to drift a little bit?
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys that he's so low-key that sometimes during the game, even if he's having success, he kind of falls asleep on it a little bit. That's why Willie Randolph has gone out there. That's why Rick Peterson's gone out there. And they've had to talk to him to make sure to keep him with those blinders on so he keeps going after those hitters. When he goes after them, he has success like he did today.
All right, good job by John Maine today as the Mets beat the Phillies. We have more to do on Nissan Postgame Live. Ron and I return here at Studio A. Rockefeller Center West is the site, and then at 5 o'clock tonight, Daily News Live with Gary Apple. We'll get a preview from Gary after this. We're back with the Nissan play of the game, courtesy Carlos Delgado. This is his 2nd home run of the game. That one got out in a hurry, like 3.5 seconds. 2 home runs, a triple, 11 total bases for Delgado. But here's my question to you. We heard Keith Hernandez during the game talking about Delgado maybe not quite back yet. Like, he's on the way back. How do you know? 2 home runs and a triple. He looks like he's back, but what is he talking about?
Well, it's a nice game. I mean, he had obviously a great game today, really helped the Mets win, but it's 3 for a week, 3-4 games a week, maybe 10 days of this kind of hitting, because if you look at his season so far, especially the second half when he's gotten into the slump, he's really had a hard time even putting the ball in play. So if you see him a week to 10 days coming out of that slump, someone's going to pay, and pay dearly.
And then the Rockies right now are biting their nails as they're coming to Shea. All right, how about the other New York team, the Yankees, today in the Bronx? Nice day for a baseball game here in the big city. Orioles and Yankees, and Brian Roberts leads off the game against Jarrett Wright. goes deep with a home run, and 1-0 Birds right out of the gate. Bottom first, Johnny Damon. Johnny Damon's really having a nice season. Injured really all season long, it seems, but he gets large here, and he ties things up at 1-1. But after this, Ron, it becomes an Orioles game as they start teeing off on Jarrett Wright and the rest of the bunch there. Nick Markakis with a 3-run home run that scores Corey Patterson and Brandon Fahey. It's a 7-2 lead, and then in the 6th inning, Jay Gibbons. Mike Myers delivering, and Jay Gibbons, the pop fly on the infield. Oh, no.
Clank.
That's not good. A-Rod, error. I think that's 22 now. 12-2 your final score. So the Yankees are heading into this colossal series against the Red Sox with a 1.5 lead. The Red Sox do not play today. Thoughts on this upcoming 5-gamer?
Well, 5 games. Can you imagine in 3 days? Just amazing for these teams to get together. Of course, rain earlier in the season precipitated them having this series, but it's going to be great. Anytime the Yankees face the Red Sox, especially in Fenway Park, it's just going to be so much happening there around Yawkey Way, and they're going to be excited to see the Yankees come in.
Yeah, Willie Randolph knows a thing or two about the Yankees-Red Sox series. He also knows a thing or two about a 13-game lead in the East. Here's Willie Randolph addressing the media in Philadelphia.
It's nice to get a win. No one wants to be swept in any place. So it's nice to get that win and get home for a little while. Look forward to it.
Got the offense going early. Was that kind of a conscious thing, or just something that kind of developed by just playing hard?
Yeah, just playing the game. You know, we just swinging the bats and make sure we get off. You know, anytime you lose a couple in a row, you want to set the tone and get the momentum going. So guys came out swinging. Carlos had a big day today. Beltran did, and Delgado did also with a couple big home runs. Hopefully he's back in the rhythm again.
I was going to say Delgado had some little bit of a struggle, but talk about a guy in a game like this, what they could do for him in terms of getting back on track.
Well, you know, that's what hitters go through sometimes, and hopefully this is a good sign for him. He's been working hard in the cage and making sure that he tries to go out and contribute to his team every day like he's done all year. So hopefully this is a good sign for him. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
What's Valentin's status?
I'm hoping that it's just, you know, maybe a little dehydration, maybe whatever, just, you know, a little tweak. And when it's hot like this and you don't force your fluid, sometimes it could be that. It wasn't anything that hit him hard. It was just more or less something that he felt, and as a smart veteran that he is, he just, you know, said he felt it, so it's best to get you out. He's night game, day game sometimes. I tell you guys all year, I'm always concerned about Valentin and not trying to overtax him too much, but, you know, your worst nightmare. But it's, you know, he'll probably be okay. You know, just no. He's just, you know, just a little tweak. We'll see how he feels tomorrow. He said he felt pretty good.
Well, when you talked about the tempo, your first 3 runs were scored. Then you got a sac fly. You took advantage of that. And you got 2 sac bunts, and you got hits after that. So it was the little things you would talk about before the game. So was that?
Yeah. You know, just try to just get back to playing the way, you know, you're capable of playing. I mean, pitching always you know, stymie some of that every once in a while, and last night lead me through a ball game. So, you know, we try to always get back to our approach and our game, and today we did a pretty good job of that. It's not always easier said than done, but, you know, when we, you know, approach the game a certain way and don't get away from our approach, you know, we usually have a nice attack going. So today was one game for us. We wanted to get out of here without being swept, and we did, and now we need to get back in home and continue to play well.
For a young pitcher, are you impressed with the way that Maine doesn't ever seem to walk guys? Seems like a lot of young pitchers battle.
Well, not really. I mean, sometimes he has a little lapses every once in a while. I've seen him do a couple of 4-pitch walks that, you know, irritate me a little bit. But no, I mean, he's been very confident right now. He's just attacking the zone, and when you're pitching with that kind of confidence, you usually hit your spots. The thing I'm impressed more than anything is, you know, I've challenged him many times to bear down and make pitches and get through a certain situation in the game. He's done a real good job of that. He did it again today. I believe they had first and second, and he was able to get through. But he's, you know, making a case for himself every time he goes out there, and it's nice to see him kind of, you know, solidify one of those spots at the end of the rotation.
Well, Willie, what did you see today from Delgado that makes you hopeful that this can lead into something more?
Well, you know, without getting over analytical, I mean, I just think that he got the bat head of the bat out a little further out in front. You know, hitting is very difficult to do, and sometimes you see certain things that make you kind of go, okay, he might be back. But you can ask Carlos; he'll tell you the same thing. It's one day doesn't mean a whole lot. You know, I'm sure that he'll continue to swing the bat pretty well, but I don't take a lot away from what he did today. It was a good game. it just could be he got lucky today. Who knows, you know? But that's probably not the case with him. It's just that it's just as simple as sometimes it's just getting good pitch to hit, and that's what I've been preaching to him for the last week and a half. You've been getting yourself out. You've been swinging the balls out of the zone. So they threw the ball in the zone. He got the ball out, the bat out in front of the zone there, and hit the ball really well. So hopefully that's a good sign for him, and he'll continue to swing the bat the way he has.
Ryan Howard's shot in the sixth inning that stayed in. I mean, Piazza's the last homestand. Would you say that was a turning point? When,
Well, I thought he might have been out. I mean, he got it pretty good. There was a couple balls hit the dead center field that I wouldn't say the ball died, but when you first hit it, in this ballpark, you always kind of hold your breath for a second. But good thing he hit in the big part of the ballpark, kept us in. But he's a dangerous hitter.
Thanks, Willie.
All right, there's Willie Randolph just a few minutes ago talking to the media there in Philadelphia. So the Mets head home to face Colorado tomorrow, 11:30 to 12:30, right out here on the plaza behind us at SNY. You see a sign out there, a celebration of the 86 Mets. You'll be there. Tim Tuffle, Len Dykstra, Keith Hernandez.
It's going to be a fantastic time. We'll be out there with all the fans at lunchtime, so it's just going to be a lot of fun. Another great SNY event.
Autographs, Q&A, you meet the fans.
I'm not answering any more questions. I've been answering your questions all day today. I'm done.
There are too many questions. A correction for you here. We showed you the Yankees highlights a few minutes ago. I had said the A-Rod charged with an error on that play. Originally, he was. That play changed to an error on Derek Jeter. But the Yankees still lose by a score of 12-2 to the Orioles today in the Bronx. Mets win. They take Game 4 of the 4-game set in Philadelphia. Thanks for watching Nissan Postgame Live. In a half hour coming your way, it's Gary Apple and Daily News Live. Enjoy. Have a great night.